Chapter 31, Helping Lin Xiaoqian Find a Drawing Teacher? Su Mengyao's expression froze slightly as she shook her head and said, Cici, I was passing by here, so I stopped by. Mommy still has things to do and will have to leave later. Lin Xiaoqian looked very aggrieved. But I really want to sleep with my mom and dad. Lin Chen said, Mommy has to work. Xiaoqian, which of Mommy's dishes do you think tastes the best? Lin Xiaoqian's attention was instantly diverted. Dad, that dish. I like meat. Lin Xiaoqian pointed to a plate of diced beef. For this pan-fried diced beef, Su Mengyao used top Australian Wagyu beef. This is an ingredient she brought herself. If your skills aren't up to it, then use ingredients to compensate. Lin Chen looked at the pan-fried diced beef. With his level of skill, he could instantly find dozens of problems. Xiaoqian, Dad will pick one up for you, let's try it together. Lin Chen picked up a beef cube for Lin Xiaoxi and also picked up one for himself. The two of them put it in their mouths together. Good meat, what a waste. Lin Chen muttered to himself. Su Mengyao's cooking skills were even worse than his before. But as the daughter of a wealthy family and now the CEO, it was already rare for her to be able to cook. Xiaoxi, what do you think? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xiaoxi expectantly. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao and said hesitantly, Mom, it's delicious. Cici, your nose will grow if you lie. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen and said, Mom, this doesn't count as lying. Dad says it's a white lie. Lin Chen. Cici, let's try this dish. Lin Chen picked up another dish and served it to Lin Xiaoxi. This is steamed sea bass. Lin Xiaoqian took a bite and her face turned ashen. Cici, doesn't it taste good? Su Mengyao asked. The sea bass she used was not the ordinary kind sold in the market, one could buy a dozen of the kind sold in the market. Mom, it's delicious. Lin Xiaoqian said delicious with her mouth, but she didn't really eat much. Su Mengyao tried it herself. Ugh. The fish was bland and had a fishy smell. Lin Chen tasted a little and said that it didn't even taste as good as the diced beef. Mom, I love eating vegetables. Lin Xiaoqian said in a baby voice. She really couldn't eat the fish. Su Mengyao quickly picked up some vegetables for Lin Xiaoqian. Lin Xiaoqian tasted it. Mom, I think I'm full. Su Mengyao. She tasted it herself and it was salty. Lin Chen tasted all 4 dishes, and the most delicious one was the diced beef, but the taste was also very average. That. Lin Chen, let's go out and eat. Su Mengyao said awkwardly. Lin Chen smiled, no need to go to that trouble, I'll reprocess it, just wait a moment. Soon Lin Chen brought the dishes to the kitchen. Rescuing failed dishes is also something top chefs need to master. Many ingredients are expensive, and it would be a shame to waste them. He turned on the stove and Lin Chen quickly disposed of the food. His cooking skills were still at the grandmaster level, but compared to the last time he cooked for Su Mengyao, his cooking skills had improved quite a bit. The system had made him stronger in all aspects of cooking, and naturally, his level of saving failed dishes was also top-notch. Mom, don't be sad. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao and said. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xiaoxi. Although your cooking isn't very tasty, you have a husband who cooks very tasty food. Lin Xiaoxi said very seriously. Su Mengyao reached out and tapped Lin Xiaoxi's forehead, your sharp tongue was brought up by your father. In less than 10 minutes, Lin Chen had finished all 4 dishes. He served the dishes. Su Mengyao's eyes revealed surprise. Lin Chen's dishes that had been recooked looked even better than the first time. Mengyao, you try them. Lin Chen smiled. Su Mengyao picked up a piece of beef and put it in her mouth. She froze. Did she just eat the same thing? Why did Lin Chen's food taste so much better after he cooked it? Lin Chen fed Lin Xiaoxi a piece. Dad, it's delicious. Lin Xiaoxi said happily. After she finished speaking, she looked at Su Mengyao and said, Mom, the food you cook is also edible. Su Mengyao. I don't need this kind of comfort. Lin Chen smiled and said, Mengyao, if you want to learn, I can teach you, and I guarantee you'll learn it. And there's no tuition. Mom, you can just give Dad a kiss. Lin Xiaoqian giggled. Su Mengyao blushed slightly, and Lin Chen picked up more food for Lin Xiaoqian. Xiaoqian, try some of the other dishes too. Lin Xiaoqian ate with big bites. Su Mengyao said in a bad mood, Xiaoqian, didn't you just get full? Now you can eat again? Lin Xiaochen didn't dare to look at Su Mengyao, who kept her head down and finished her rice. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and said, "Lin Chen, let's discuss something. Xiaochen seems to have some talent in drawing, so I want to find her a drawing teacher. Every day, they can come to the house and teach her how to draw. It may take up a lot of your time." Lin Xiaochen looked up and shook her head repeatedly. "Mom, I don't want someone else to teach me to draw. Dad is very good, Dad can teach me to draw." Su Mengyao said, "Sisai, Dad is good at drawing, but the teacher your mom will find for you will be even better." Lin Chen's eyebrows shot up. This he disagreed with a little. His drawing was at the level of a grandmaster and was top in the world. Although Su Mengyao was rich, it was a question of whether she could find a top-notch painter in the world to teach Lin Xiaoxi. The Su family has quite a lot of assets, but looking at the world as a whole, a few hundred billion yuan in assets is really not that impressive. The world's top painters will never lack for money. "Mengyao, my level is enough to help Cici get started," Lin Chen said. Su Mengyao's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. "I've contacted a painter who is quite well known across the country. The enlightenment stage is also very important for Cici." Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, "I'll paint a picture, and you can show it to the other person. You can ask if my level is good enough to enlighten a child over 2 years old. It's quite a hassle running around every day." Su Mengyao nodded. "That's fine then." After dinner, Su Mengyao said, "I'll clean up, you go paint." Lin Chen shook his head. "You rarely come over, you go keep little she company, it won't take long for me to clean up and paint a picture." "Okay then." Su Mengyao really wanted to spend more time with Lin Xiaoxi. After tidying up the kitchen, Lin Chen prepared his paintbrushes and a large sheet of paper. After thinking about it, Lin Chen painted an illustration of the 8 horses. In the history of modern painting, Su Beihong's horses were unparalleled, but this time he had met his match. Lin Chen's horses were in no way inferior to Su Beihong's. He had spent more time teaching Lin Xiaoxi to paint, and his level was also that of a great master. His painting was even better than his calligraphy. Lin Xiaoxi can't just follow someone else's example. Lin Chen muttered to himself. After the ink had dried, Lin Chen rolled up the scroll and stored it in a painting tube he had bought earlier. Su Mengyao came over. "Finished already?" She didn't even have time to take a look. Lin Chen nodded. "It's in here." "Mengyao, don't say it's my work when the time comes. Just ask if this level is good enough to teach Xiaoxi." "Okay." Su Mengyao nodded. Chapter 32, Lin Xiaoxi is sick. Su Mengyao left with the painting tube, and Lin Xiaoxi was sullen. "Xiaoxi, what's wrong? You can hang an oil pot from your little mouth." Lin Chen scraped Lin Xiaoxi's delicate little nose and said. Lin Xiaoxi hugged Lin Chen. "Dad, I don't want to learn painting from anyone else, I want to learn from you." Lin Chen laughed and said, "Xiaoqian, you can trust your father. I think I can teach you at my level. Now let's go take a bath and go to bed." Lin Xiaoqian asked in a baby voice, "Dad, I like to sleep with Mom and Dad. Do you like to sleep with me and Mom?" Yes. Lin Chen said with a smile. He really likes it. "Let's go, I'll wash you and then tell you a story before you go to sleep," Lin Chen said with a smile. An hour later, Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep sweetly, and Lin Chen went to the study and seized the time to write a fairy tale. He had already uploaded a total of 50 articles. If he uploaded 10 more, the second book could be published. The first book had sold 1 million copies, and word of mouth can last for many years. "Boss, Lin Yu has passed on 10 more fairy tales." "Boss." The owners of many publishing companies have all gotten the message. Many of them were woken up from sleep by the phone. Tongsun Wang boss Liang Zhirong was also woken up. "Chen, is the quality confirmed?" Liang Zhirong asked. "Chen Xinhan, boss, phone, and I each read 5 of the new ones, and the quality of the 10 newly uploaded ones is also very high." "A lot of people must have called you, right?" "Yes, they all want to cooperate with Lin Yu, and some have left comments in the comments section wanting to talk to Lin Yu in detail." Liang Zhirong thought for a while and said, "For the second book, we'll give Lin Chen 18% of the royalties directly, and no other company will be able to surpass us. We have a website, and they don't. In addition, we'll give Lin Chen a little more signing bonus. If the percentage given to Lin Chen is high, they will earn less, but as long as the sales are high, they will earn a lot. And this kind of book will continue to make money in the future." "Boss, how much is the signing bonus?" "I'll send a message to Lin Chen right now, he should still be awake." Chen Xinhan asked. Liang Zhirong considered for a while and said, Lin Yu has brought a lot of traffic to the website. The first signing bonus was 300,000, and this time he will be given a signing bonus of 600,000. Boss, that's a lot? Chen Xinhan said in surprise. Liang Zhirong, didn't you say that his writing is even better than Master Zhang's? This could become a hit in the future. I'll make less money now, and slowly make it back in the future. By the way, the first print run will be 1 million copies. Chen Xinhan quickly sent a message to Lin Chen. Lin Chen happened to be done showering and saw the message Chen Xinhan had sent. 18% tax rate, 600,000 signing bonus, and the first print run will be 1 million copies? Lin Chen's eyes revealed a look of surprise. The Tongxin network boss Liang Zhirong is really quite capable. With this royalty rate, the royalty for the first 1 million copies is 5.4 million, and with the signing bonus of 600,000, it's exactly 6 million. Add that to the 8.2 million I have, and I'll still have 1.2 million left over when I buy this house. Lin Chen thought to himself. Okay. Lin Chen directly agreed with Chen Xinhuan. Tongxin Wang is generous, and he didn't want to waste any time. It would be difficult for other publishing companies to offer such terms. Tongxin Wang can get traffic, but other companies can't. Phew. Chen Xinhan let out a sigh of relief. Lin Yu, boss, you go get some rest first, and we'll sign the contract tomorrow. Okay. Lin Chen went to bed and quickly fell asleep. Cough. 2 hours passed, and Lin Chen woke up with a start. Lin Xiaoxi was coughing. Xiaoxi really caught a cold. Lin Chen frowned. He had checked on Lin Xiaoqian every 2 paragraphs, and she had been fine until she kicked the covers off. She had caught a cold after all. Cough, cough. Lin Xiaoqian coughed until her face turned red. Lin Chen felt very distressed as he watched, and he would rather be sick himself. System, now that my physical fitness has improved, can't I help improve Xiaoqian's a little? Lin Chen asked in his head. The system said, host, this is not possible. But if your medical skills improve, you can help Lin Xiaoqian recover. Or you can teach her martial arts when you learn it yourself in the future. Lin Chen nodded slightly. He had actually wanted to acquire martial arts skills for a long time. But acquiring skills had to be done naturally, and it would not appear if you did it deliberately. Lin Xiaoqian was not interested at all right now. Cough, cough. Every now and then, Lin Xiaoqian coughed a few times in discomfort. Coughing like this, Lin Xiaoqian woke up. Dad, I feel so bad. Lin Xiaoqian said with a red face. Chapter 33 Lin Chen's drawing skills are so high? Lin Chen touched Lin Xiaoqian's forehead. Her forehead was burning hot, and Lin Xiaoqian had a cough and fever caused by a cold. There were fever-reducing patches at home, so he quickly got one and put it on Lin Xiaoqian, but the sticky thing was uncomfortable, and Lin Xiaoqian tore it off as soon as it was put on. Xiaoqian, be good, you have a fever. This is to lower your temperature, so you have to wear it for a while. Lin Chen reapplied the patch to Lin Xiaoxi. Dad, am I going to die? Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen and said pitifully. What are you talking about? It's normal for children to catch colds and have fevers. In the future, I'll take you out for more exercise, and you'll get sick less often. Lin Chen comforted Lin Xiaoxi, taking her temperature, rubbing her body, and giving her an antipyretic. Time passed by minute, and Lin Chen carefully watched over Lin Xiaoxi. He had obtained ancient medical techniques, but they had not yet been activated. He has not acquired much knowledge of ancient medical techniques. At this moment, he is not yet able to use ancient medical techniques to treat Lin Xiaoxi. Ancient medical techniques are traditional Chinese medicine, and fever-reducing medicine is Western medicine. However, Lin Chen does not reject either traditional Chinese medicine or Western medicine. To him, good medicine is medicine that makes patients feel comfortable. As the fever subsided, Lin Xiaoxi fell back asleep in a daze. Lin Chen let out a sigh of relief. It is normal for children to get sick, but Lin Chen still feels very sad that Lin Xiaoxi is really sick. It made him feel very distressed when she coughed. Tomorrow's diet needs to be watched. In addition, I need to prepare a medicated bath for Xiaoqian to keep her warm. Lin Chen thought to himself. Some foods can worsen the condition, while others are good for recovery. He had just gained a lot of information in this regard. He now also knows a little about prescribing medicine. However, his medical skills have not improved much yet, and he is still not brave enough to prescribe medicine for Lin Xiaoqian that she can eat. Lin Xiaoqian's condition wasn't particularly serious, so Lin Chen thought that a combination of dietary supplements and medicinal baths should be enough to get her better. Cough, cough. Lin Xiaoqian coughed every now and then. Lin Chen didn't go back to sleep. He had a good constitution, and even if he didn't sleep for 3 or 5 days, he would be fine. Before he knew it, it was morning. Lin Xiaoqian had a fever twice more, but Lin Chen helped her cool down by wiping her body in time, so the cold didn't get any worse. Lin Chen placed an order for some things. Lin Xiaoqian had not yet woken up when the things were delivered. Some of these things were for Lin Xiaoqian to nourish her body. Some were for Lin Xiaoqian to take medicinal baths. Lin Chen took advantage of the time before Lin Xiaoqian woke up to get things done. 5 minutes passed, and a lot of information came flooding into his mind, and his medical skills improved at an extremely fast rate. Half an hour later, Lin Chen had everything ready. Dad. Lin Xiaoqian walked out of the bedroom. She still looked a little dazed. Lin Xiaoqian, what's wrong? Lin Chen asked, picking Lin Xiaoqian up in his arms. Lin Xiaoqian said softly, Dad, I don't seem to have much strength, and I feel a bit sticky. Lin Chen wiped the sweat off Lin Xiaoqian, but then she fell asleep, and there were some parts of her body that he naturally couldn't reach. Lin Xiaoqian, you have a cold. But a cold is just a minor illness, so don't worry. You can trust your dad, and I'll cure you soon. Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoqian and smiled. After Lin Xiaoqian finished brushing her teeth, Lin Chen added boiling medicine to the bathtub and let Lin Xiaoqian soak for 10 minutes. Lin Xiaoqian's physical condition visibly improved a lot during the bath. Lin Chen's medical skills improved a lot during the treatment. He had already improved for an hour. But for Lin Chen, the improvement was huge. His level had already surpassed that of many traditional Chinese medicine doctors. Dad, let's go out and play. Lin Xiaoqian giggled after breakfast. Usually after breakfast, Lin Chen would take Lin Xiaoqian out to play. It was cooler in the morning. Lin Chen shook his head and said, not today. Xiaoqian, you're sick, so we need to rest at home. If you go outside and catch a cold, it will make your cough worse. Dad will teach you to draw. Lin Xiaoqian is in this condition today, so she has to stop learning spoken English. It's better to speak less and be quiet. Great. I love painting. Lin Xiaoqian said happily, clapping her hands. Ding dong. Su Mengyao arrived at a villa area. This villa area is not very far from Ziyuan community, just a 20-minute drive away. Su Dong, please come in. A middle-aged man in his 40s said warmly as he opened the door. He is the painter Su Mengyao mentioned, called Zhao Yanming. He is well known nationwide and has real talent. Su Dong, where is your child? Didn't you say you were bringing your child here to try out for the class today? Zhao Yanming asked with some confusion. Su Mengyao apologetically said, Teacher Zhao, I'm really sorry, she didn't come today. Someone said they could help when they heard that I was looking for a teacher for Shi. He also drew me a picture. Zhao Yanming looked at the painting tube brought by Su Mengyao. Su Dong, although your child is young, enlightenment is also very important. Do you want me to help you evaluate and see the other person's abilities? Su Mengyao nodded, thanks. It's okay, no trouble. Zhao Yanming took the painting tube and poured out the painting. He spread the painting out on the workbench. Ha! Su Mengyao was stunned. Zhao Yanming was even more stunned. Su Mengyao didn't understand, but as an ordinary person, she thought that Lin Chen's painting of the 8 horses was very good. Lin Chen actually had such painting skills. Su Mengyao thought to herself. She hadn't seen the painting yet, as she had left the painting tube in the car last night and drove directly here this morning. Time passed by minute by minute. Zhao Yanming leaned closer to observe and admire it carefully. Amazing. This person's level is too high. Even if Su Beihong were still alive, he might not be able to match this person. Zhao Yanming was shocked. Teacher Zhao, what do you think? After 10 minutes, Su Mengyao couldn't help but ask. Zhao Yanming came back to his senses. Su Dong, are you joking? Zhao Yanming shook his head and said. Su Mengyao hurriedly said, Teacher Zhao, isn't this person's level good? I don't really know much about this. Zhao Yanming took a deep breath and said, Su Dong, the person who painted this picture could be my teacher. No, I may not be qualified to be his student. Ha! Su Mengyao was stunned. Zhao Yanming said, "Do you know Su Beihong?" Su Mengyao nodded. She had to know this. If she didn't know this, then all her previous schooling would have been for nothing. Su Beihong was best at painting horses, and the horse in this of painting was actually so terrifying? Teacher Zhao, are you sure? Zhao Yanming nodded. Although my level is far lower than this, my judgment should not be too different. Su Dong, who is this person? Chapter 34, Shall We Kiss? Su Mengyao said apologetically, Teacher Zhao, the other person forbade me to reveal his identity, so I'm sorry I can't tell you who it is. Zhao Yanming was filled with regret. It really was like this. This person of great ability should be the type of recluse. Otherwise, with his level of skill, he would have already been famous. Your daughter is really lucky to have him as a teacher. Su Mengyao's mind conjured up the image of Lin Chen. His cooking is so good, his language skills are so strong, and in terms of painting, Lin Chen is even on par with Su Beihong. But he is very low-key, and really has the feel of a recluse. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. She felt like this was a dream. Even if Zhao Yanming's judgment was a bit off, Zhao Yanming's level should not be that far off. Lin Chen's level is definitely super high. Su Dong, I have a request that is not appropriate. Zhao Yanming said with some embarrassment. Su Mengyao, Teacher Zhao, just say it. Zhao Yanming looked at the painting on the table. Su Dong, can you ask the other party if I want to buy this painting? Su Mengyao shook her head. This painting was painted by the other party for Xiao Qian, and it has special meaning for Xiao Qian. I don't want to sell it. If you want to buy it, I will ask the other party later and see if they are willing to paint another one. What do you think? Zhao Yanming nodded, of course. Su Dong, Su Beihong's works are basically all over 5 million. But Su Beihong's works are scarce, and his popularity is also high, so the price will definitely be much higher. I will pay 800,000 yuan for the same work. Su Mengyao, Mr. Zhao, I will talk to the other party, but I cannot guarantee that the other party will draw it for you. Well, I'm sorry to trouble you. Zhao Yanming said. Su Mengyao rolled up the scroll and packed it. Teacher Zhao, I'm really sorry to waste your time this time. Zhao Yanming shook his head. It is my honor to be able to see such a masterpiece and know that there is such a genius in the world. I hope to have the opportunity to meet this genius in the future. Su Mengyao quickly took her leave and left. Back in the car, looking at the scroll in her hands, Su Mengyao still felt shocked. Lin Chen's level was actually that high, and a single painting was worth 800,000. Lin Chen didn't even spend half an hour painting this. President, where are we going? The driver and bodyguard Liang Yeshuan asked. Su Mengyao thought for a moment and said, go to the UN community. This painting is worth 800,000, and she can't just take it. She has to return this painting to Lin Chen. Besides, she also has some questions she wants to ask Lin Chen. I forgot to give him this book. Su Mengyao took a book out of the shelf behind the seat. This book was precisely Lin Yu's collection of fairy tales. And this one is even signed. Su Mengyao had bought 2 copies before, but neither of hers was signed. This one was given to her by Tongsun Wang. She was Lin Yu's first Silver Alliance leader. Ding dong. Su Mengyao rang the doorbell. Lin Chen saw Su Mengyao outside through the peephole. Xiao Qian, mommy's here. Lin Chen shouted. He opened the door, and Su Mengyao looked at him with a strange expression. Lin Chen didn't seem like a top artist. Mom! Lin Xiaoxi ran over in surprise. Cici. Su Mengyao crouched down and picked up Lin Xiaoxi. Hey, Cici, why does your body smell like medicine? Lin Xiaoxi said in a sweet voice, Mom, I took a bath, and Dad added some black medicine to the water. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen said, Xiao Qian kicked the quilt and caught a cold, but her cold is not serious. You don't have to worry, I'll give her some tonic and then she'll be fine after a medicinal bath. Su Mengyao went into the room. Lin Chen closed the door. Lin Chen, did you take Xiao Qian to see a Chinese medicine doctor? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen shook his head, I mixed the medicine myself. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in surprise, you know Chinese medicine? A little. Lin Chen said. He wasn't lying. Traditional Chinese medicine is vast and profound. It took him 30 hours to reach the level of a master, and now he only knows a little. This is for you. Su Mengyao returned the painting tube to Lin Chen. Mom, let's go to the balcony. I've drawn a picture, and Dad taught me how to draw. Lin Xiaoxi urged. Su Mengyao hugged Lin Xiaoxi and went to the balcony. She saw the picture Lin Xiaoxi had drawn and her eyes revealed a shocked expression. Cici, did you paint this? Su Mengyao said in disbelief. Lin Xiaoxi was only a little over 2 years old, but the painting, from the composition to the colors to the artistic conception, was quite good. Yes. Mom, am I good? Lin Xiaoxi said with a little pride. Great. Our Cici is the best. Su Mengyao praised Lin Xiaoxi by kissing her. Lin Xiaoxian said, Mom and Dad are even better. You kissed me, so do you want to kiss Dad too? Su Mengyao said. Little brat, don't you ever mind your parents' business. Su Mengyao tapped Lin Xiaoxian on the head. Cough, cough. Lin Xiaoxian coughed twice. Su Mengyao's heart tightened. Lin Xiaoxian's health was not very good, and every time she caught a cold, she had to toss and turn for several days. Mengyao, don't worry. Cici just has a common cold. Her bronchial tubes are fine, and her lungs are even better. She should be fine tomorrow. Lin Shen said with a smile. Su Mengyao said, Are you sure it will be better in 2 days? In the past, Cici's colds would last at least 3 or 4 days. Once, she had pneumonia and was hospitalized for more than 10 days. Lin Shen nodded, I'm sure, you don't have to worry. Su Mengyao let out a sigh of relief. Lin Shen, Cici's drawing skills have improved a lot. She's only a little over 2 years old, and she can already draw so well. Thank you. Lin Xiaoxian looked at Su Mengyao with confusion. Mom, why are you thanking Dad? Dad taught me to draw, so you don't need to thank him, just give him a kiss. Su Mengyao blushed slightly. Adults shouldn't kiss in front of children. Lin Chen, let's go to your room. Su Mengyao went to the study, and Lin Chen naturally followed. Shall we kiss? Lin Chen said with a smile. Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a wide-eyed glance. Cici is a child talking nonsense, so you must not talk nonsense. Lin Chen, what is your level in painting? Lin Chen shook his head. I don't know, I just do it for fun. But I think I'm not bad at it, so I don't think there will be any problems enlightening Cici, right? Su Mengyao took a deep breath and said, I showed your painting to a well-known painter, and he commented that your level is probably not lower than Su Beihong's. Oh. Lin Chen nodded. The other person's level seems to be okay, at least their eye for talent is on point. Is that your reaction? Don't you know who Su Beihong is? Su Mengyao said with a strange expression. Lin Chen shrugged and said, Su Mengyao, you're kind of looking down on people, I'm at least a college student, I'm your senior, how could I not know Su Beihong? Then why did you react so flatly? Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen was puzzled, what kind of reaction do I want? I'm not thinking about being a painter, I'm just teaching Xiaoqian at home. Su Mengyao, I showed your painting to Jia Yanming, and he wants to pay 800,000 to buy an identical painting from you. Chapter 35, Did Dad write this book? 800,000 for my painting? Lin Chen said in surprise. Su Mengyao nodded. Lin Chen, why didn't you just sell him the painting? Su Mengyao said, this is your thing. And you painted this painting because you wanted to teach Cici, it's meaningful to Cici, so if you want to sell the painting, just paint another one. Lin Chen thought about it. TongXIN.com had already transferred the 6 million, and he originally had 8.2 million, which added up to more than 14 million. The market price of this house was 13 million. The landlord was eager to sell, so perhaps he could get a discount. After buying the house, he would still have more than $1 million left, and the sequels to his book would definitely earn him a lot of money. It was pretty good that a painting could sell for 800,000, but now he didn't lack this kind of money, so there was no need to earn it. Mengyao, if I don't sell it, will you have any trouble? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao shook her head and said, no, but why don't you sell it? 800,000 is no small sum of money. Lin Chen said, I don't need this money. I don't want to be famous for the time being, I just want Xiaoqian to grow up peacefully. I don't want to go downstairs to take Xiaoqian for a walk or to the supermarket and be surrounded by a lot of people. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in surprise. Everyone else is trying to find ways to become famous, but Lin Chen is so low-key. Lin Chen, I have a question. You're so good at cooking, you have a talent for languages, and you're also good at drawing, so why hide it? Su Mengyao said doubtfully. Lin Chen sighed, you don't understand the troubles of a genius. Su Mengyao guessed. You're so good that you're afraid of being discovered, and you're afraid of being caught and used as a guinea pig? Lin Chen secretly praised Su Mengyao. This is a good reason. Lin Chen smiled and said, I think it's pretty good this way. I get to spend every day with Xiao Qian and witness her growth. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. She suddenly noticed that Lin Chen seemed to have become more handsome recently. And indeed, it was true. Lin Chen's physique had improved and his body was changing. He didn't have abs before, but now he did. Moreover, there were fewer toxins in his body, his skin had improved, and his facial features definitely looked more handsome. Mengyao, what are you looking at? If you want to kiss me, I'm fine with it. Lin Chen said with a smile. Su Mengyao's face flushed, don't talk nonsense. Since you don't want to sell the painting, I'll turn down Zhao Yanming. Cici is sick, so you take care of it. After saying this, Su Mengyao quickly opened the door and went out. Lin Chen laughed. Future melting Su Mengyao, there should be a play on this iceberg. Cici, Mommy still has things to do, Mommy has to go. Mommy will come see you again in a few days. By the way, Mommy brought you a book of fairy tales. You let Daddy read it to you. Su Mengyao took out Lin Yu fairy tales from her bag. Lin Xiaoxi, Mommy, I've heard it before. This was written by Daddy, Daddy's stories are so good to hear. Su Mengyao was stunned. This was written by Daddy? Lin Xiaoqian said in a baby voice, yes. Dad, you tell Mom quickly, didn't you write this for me? Yes. Lin Chen patted Lin Xiaoqian's head and laughed. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in surprise. Lin Chen laughed and said, Lin Yu is my pen name. Some of the fairy tales aren't very good, so I wrote them myself. Xiaoqian likes to listen to them, and I can make some money on the side. You. Su Mengyao didn't know what to say. Lin Chen is a top-notch cook, has a great gift for languages, can draw like Su Beihong, and is even so good at writing fairy tales. Mengyao, why don't you stay for lunch? Lin Chen asked. Su. Mengyao shook her head, I still have things to do at the company. Cicai's mother is leaving first, so you have to listen to your father. MMM. Mommy, kiss. Su Mengyao crouched down, and Lin Xiaoxi kissed her. Daddy kissed you, so I'll kiss you too. We all love you. Lin Xiaoxi said sweetly. Su Mengyao. She and Lin Chen did not kiss in the room. But there was no need to explain to the little one Lin Xiaoxi. Mengyao, it is inconvenient for Cici to go out with a cold, so we won't see you off. Drive carefully by yourself. Okay. Su Mengyao left. Back in the car, her Bentley drove towards the company. Lin Chen is actually Lin Yu. Wait, the internet says that Lin Yu's calligraphy is very good, so Lin Chen has one more great advantage. Su Mengyao thought to herself. She secretly wondered how her father had managed to find so many flaws in Lin Chen. In the afternoon, Lin Xiaoxi took another medicinal bath and fell asleep. She no longer had a fever, but her cough persisted. Ding dong. The doorbell rang, and Lin Chen went to open the door. Outside the door was the agent he had called. Mr. Lin. Is there a problem with the house? The agent asked, putting on shoe covers before entering. Lin Chen invited him to sit down. There's nothing wrong with the house, my daughter and I are very happy living here, and I'll consider buying it if the price is right. The agent's eyes lit up. This was a gift from heaven. Mr. Lin, the owner's asking price is 13 million, but the market is not good at the moment, and the property has been on the market for a long time without selling, so it should come down a bit. What's your intended price? Lin Chen laughed. The current market price is generally 10% off the asking price, so 10% off 13 million is 11.7 million. I'll add a bit to make it an even sum, so 11.88 million. Talk to the owner, and if you can get a deal done, I'll pay the full price. If not, that's that. The agent thought about it for a moment. Lin Chen's offer wasn't unreasonable, and there was still hope that he could convince the owner. Mr. Lin, I'll do my best to facilitate the transaction. The agent got up and said. Lin Chen nodded, as soon as possible. I have so much cash right now, but it might be gone in a while. Then even if the owner changes his mind, I won't be able to buy it. Okay. The agent got up and left. When he got downstairs, he quickly called the owner. 11.5 million? That's too low, that's 1.5 million short. I'll lose everything if I sell it at that price. The owner said angrily. Real estate agent, Mr. Tan, the economy is in the doldrums, not many people can afford a house for over 10 million yuan, and there are a lot of houses on the market that need to be sold. Do you want me to talk to the other party again? If you feel that the difference is too big and don't want to talk about it, that's fine. On the other end of the phone, the homeowner was silent for a while and said, "Talk to them again, this price is really too low." The real estate agent said, "Mr. Tan, I'll try my best to talk to them." 2 or 3 hours later, the real estate agent called again, and he talked about 11.7 million yuan. The homeowner was not satisfied. In the evening, the agent talked about 11.88 million. "Mr. Tan, I have been pestering Mr. Lin for hours, and he is getting a little angry. He said that this is the price, and if you don't sell, don't bother looking for him again. I really have no choice. What do you think?" The agent said helplessly. There was a moment of silence on the other side, and then it was said, "Just sell it to him. Handsome guys and beautiful girls, please give a 5-star rating, thank you." Chapter 36. Mr. Jiang, what do you think of this character? Mr. Lin, the seller has agreed to sell to you. Do you think it would be possible to arrange a meeting tomorrow to sign the contract? The entire transaction process will take about a week. The agent called Lin Chen. I have no problem with that. Mr. Lin, then we will meet at the store tomorrow at 9 a.m. Time passed quickly and it was the next day. Lin Xiaoqian's cough had improved a lot, and it was not a big problem anymore. Lin Chen's medical skills had improved a lot last night. The total duration of his improvement in medical skills reached 3 hours. With 30 hours, he can become a master of medical skills, and with 3 hours, he already has the level of many old Chinese doctors. Lin Xiaoqian only had a small cold, and the treatment was very easy. Dad, where are we going to play? Lin Xiaoqian asked cheerfully as she looked left and right. Lin Chen smiled and said, Xiaoqian, don't you like our current house? Dad bought it, so we can live here forever. Really? Lin Xiaoqian's eyes lit up. Really? Lin Chen said adoringly. Lin Xiaoqian said hopefully, is Mum moving in? I want to live with Mum and Dad, is that okay? Of course it's okay. But Mum won't be moving in for the time being. Mum's company is very busy, and it's more convenient for her to live over there. Lin Chen said. As the two of them chatted, Lin Chen arrived at the shop outside the residential area. Mr. Lin, this is Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan, this is Mr. Lin and his daughter. The agent's assistant introduced them. The owner, Mr. Tan, extended his hand and smiled, Mr. Lin, it's a pleasure to meet you. You are really young and accomplished. You are so young, but you can afford a house worth more than 10 million yuan. Mr. Tan, you are too kind. Lin Chen smiled. The two sides had already negotiated a long time ago, and there were no complications. The two sides signed the contract happily and amicably. After the contract was signed, although the ownership transfer had not yet taken place, the house basically already belonged to Lin Chen. In the morning, Lin Chen cooperated with the agent to run some formalities. The rest was mainly the agent's business. TongXIN.com headquarters. Chen, there's a delivery for you. Hey. Chen, this delivery was sent by Lin Yu. An editor said as he took the delivery to the office. Give it to me. Chen Xinheng said hurriedly. He took the delivery and carefully opened it. Chen, what is it that you're being so careful with? Chen Xinheng said, how can I not be careful? The contents of this box were bought by someone for 300,000 yuan. You guys stay away, or you'll have to pay for any damage. Hearing this, the editors quickly moved away. Chen Xinheng took out the painting tube from the box and let out a sigh of relief when he saw that it was protected. He opened the tube and took out the words written by Lin Chen. Preface to the Orchid Pavilion. This was written by Lin Yu? Several people carefully examined it. However, only one of them was of a decent standard and could appreciate the charm, while the others could only see the surface. This. Chen Xinhuan was shocked. Lin Chen's signature was written with a ballpoint pen, while this one was written with a brush, and Lin Chen had taken even more care with this one. Chen Xinhuan knew how to appreciate art, and this had a great impact on him. That signature was not the limit of Lin Yu's abilities. The standard of calligraphy shown in this copybook was even higher. Chen Xinhuan thought to himself. Chen, what do you think? Your calligraphy is much better than mine. What do you think? An old editor next to Chen Xinhuan asked. Chen Xinhuan thought for a while and said, in the whole of China, there are definitely no more than 3 people whose calligraphy is better than this. I can't talk to you anymore, I have to go out for a while. Chen Xinhuan carefully re-rolled and repacked it. An hour later, Chen Xinhuan arrived at Jiang Xuesong's villa. Old Jiang, this is the Lantingyi Su written by Lin Yu. I was afraid the courier would switch it with another, so I took a look before I came. Chen Xinhuan said. Jiang Xuesong's eyes lit up. He put on his reading glasses and a pair of white gloves before slowly taking out the item. Unfolding the Lantingyi Su written by Lin Chen, Jiang Xuesong's eyes widened, and his breathing became a little rapid. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Chen Xinhuan waited by the side for a full hour, and Jiang Xuesong carefully looked at every word. Phew! Jiang Xuesong straightened up and let out a long breath. Mr. Jiang, what do you think? Chen Xinhuan hurriedly asked, supporting Jiang Xuesong. Jiang Xuesong's eyes were a little moist as he said, calligraphy is the treasure of the Chinese nation, but it has been declining over the years. We people are not up to par, far inferior to the ancients. I was afraid that Chinese calligraphy would fall into decline, but now I know that our calligraphy will not decline. Although we are not good, there are still people who are. Chen Xinhuan, Mr. Jiang, I can see that this is better than the previous signature, but I'm not good enough to tell by how much. Jiang Xuesong took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes, saying, this work is not much worse than the real Lantingyi Su. If it is allowed to settle with the passage of time, it will become a rare treasure. Chen Xinhuan swallowed. Is it that good? He now really wanted to call Lin Chen and buy a copy. As editor-in-chief, he could still afford 300,000 yuan. Chen, I think I underpaid for the 300,000 yuan one. I think this one is worth at least 500,000 yuan. I'll transfer you another 700,000 yuan, 200,000 of which is a supplement, and I'll use the other 500,000 yuan to buy another calligraphy. Jiang Xuesong said. Chen Xinhuan nodded, and he dialed Lin Chen's phone. Boss Lin Yu, Jiang has received the Lantingyi Su you wrote, and he says he wants to supplement another 200,000 yuan to you. He also wants to spend 500,000 yuan to buy another one. I also want to buy a piece of calligraphy. Lin Chen was surprised. He would give him an additional 200,000 yuan? Editor-in-Chief Chen, please tell Mr. Jiang that the deal has been reached and I don't need him to give me an additional 200,000 yuan. Besides, I don't need the money anymore and I won't sell the calligraphy. Lin Chen said. He wasn't going to sell the painting, so of course the same applied to the calligraphy. He liked small amounts of money, but right now it was most important to take good care of Lin Xiaoqian. Fame, we'll talk about that later. Big brother Lin Yu, you're not selling anymore? Chen Xinhuan said, stunned. Lin Chendao said, I was in a hurry to buy a house before, but now that I've bought it, I have enough money for now. Editor-in-Chief Chen, I'm sorry. Chen Xinhuan said regretfully, that's fine. Big brother Lin Yu, then I won't disturb you, you go about your business. Jiang Lao, Lin Yu said that he doesn't need to pay anymore, and besides, he doesn't need money for the time being and doesn't want to sell his work again. Chen Xinhuan sighed lightly. Jiang Xuesong nodded, money is just a vulgar thing. A master like him will not be obsessed with money. I didn't reach his level until I was 70. I'm ashamed. Chen Xinhuan, Mr. Jiang, you're amazing. I don't think I'll ever reach that level in my life. Xiao Chen, didn't Master Lin Yu say that this couldn't be exhibited? Jiang Xuesong asked. Chen Xinhuan shook his head, no. He sold it to you, so you can do whatever you want with it. Jiang Xuesong said, I plan to invite some people to come and appreciate it. This won't affect Master Lin Yu, will it? Chen Xinhuan looked at the signature at the back. I'll cover it up then. Jiang Xuesong said. Chen Xinhuan laughed, then there's no problem. We'll keep the identity of Master Lin Yu a secret. I don't even know his exact home address. Chapter 37 Meng Yao, by this calligraphy. Chen Xinhuan left. Jiang Xuesong logged onto Weibo. He had his own account, but he didn't update it for a long time. He was lucky enough to buy a piece of calligraphy by the Master Lin Yu, so Jiang prepared some tea and invited a group of old friends over to appreciate and exchange opinions. Jiang Xuesong posted a Weibo. He also attached a high-definition photo he had just taken. There were quite a few people who followed Jiang Xuesong, so the Weibo was quickly seen by others. Mr. Jiang is a master of calligraphy, and he even called someone a master. Just who is this Lin Yu? I know him. President Gu has praised him. I didn't realize that Mr. Jiang held such a high opinion of Lin Yu's calligraphy. It seems that Lin Yu's skill is really high. I thought Lin Yu's signature was just okay, but I was wrong. Lin Yu's signature is not his full strength. Jiang Xuesong's Weibo account was flooded with comments. Many people who followed him were from the calligraphy world, and among them were many experts. They were all very surprised when they saw the photo. Brother Jiang, I'll come for tea. Old Jiang, the photo is not very clear, I'll be right over, you'd better have good wine and food ready. I've written the preface to the Orchid Pavilion 1,000 times, I'm no match for him, I'll buy a plane ticket right away to come and learn. The bigwigs in the calligraphy world all left messages when they heard the news. The news quickly spread. Nowadays, with the development of the internet media, news spreads quickly. Editor-in-chief, the website traffic has increased. The sales of Lin Yu's book have also increased significantly. Someone in the editorial department of tongxin.com said with surprise. It turned out that the sales curve of the book had been constantly downward, but now the sales curve had risen 50 to 60 degrees. Good, that's great. Chen Xinhuan's face showed a broad smile. Helping Jiang Xuesong buy things from Lin Chen had not been a wasted trip, and Jiang Xuesong's influence was indeed not small. Boss, Jiang Lao has sent a tweet, and it has been liked and retweeted by many people. The news has exploded, and the sales of the book have now increased considerably. Chen Xinhuan sent a message to Lin Chen. Okay. Lin Chen briefly replied. He wasn't too surprised. The house was bought, and he didn't lack money now. The fact that the book sales were a little lackluster didn't have much of an impact on him. Compared to this, the skills were much better. Lin Xiaoxi often brought him even greater surprises. Dad, I want to cry. Lin Xiaoqian woke up from her nap with a pout. Lin Chen quickly comforted her. Xiaoqian, did you have a nightmare? Or did you miss your mother, is that it? Dad, I wet the bed again. I'm not a good boy anymore. Tears glistened in Lin Xiaoqian's eyes. Xiaoqian, you haven't wet the bed in a long time, that's great. The bed has a waterproof mattress cover, so Dad can just wash it. Lin Chen quickly changed Lin Xiaoxi's clothes. Tongxin Wang Chen Xinhuan was full of emotion. The boss is the boss. Other authors would be overjoyed if their book sales increased, but Lin Yu was so indifferent. Boss, many people have asked for your contact information, and some of them want to buy your calligraphy. We will definitely keep your information strictly confidential. Chen Xinhuan sent another message. Lin Chen changed Lin Xiaoxi's clothes. And his phone rang. He picked it up and looked at the screen. Editor-in-chief, thank you. Su Mengyao returned to the office after a meeting. Ha! Su Mengyao swiped through the short videos. Big data had pushed her Lin Yu-related news. Preface to the Orchid Pavilion. Su Mengyao zoomed in and looked closely. She didn't know much about calligraphy, but the preface to the Orchid Pavilion written by Lin Chen was also very pleasing to the eye. Who is Jiang Xuesong? Su Mengyao muttered to herself. She looked it up and, upon seeing the results, Su Mengyao was amazed to learn that Jiang Xuesong had actually been the former president of the Calligraphy Association and had a high level of calligraphy attainment. Dad, what do you think of this calligraphy? Su Mengyao sent a photo of Lin Chen's Lantinggi Su to Su Guofeng. It was the middle of the night in the United States. Su Mengyao didn't expect to get a reply right away, but Su Guofeng wasn't asleep at the moment and he saw the message. Su Mengyao was not good at calligraphy, but Su Guofeng was quite accomplished at it, and he had put in a lot of hard work. And compared to calligraphy, Su Guofeng's level of appreciation was even higher. He was rich, and he had seen many top-notch works. Preface to the Orchid Pavilion. There have been so many people who have written this, it's not easy to stand out. Su Guofeng muttered to himself. He clicked on the picture and looked at it carefully. 5 minutes passed, and Su Guofeng had finished looking at it. He was amazed. This work was clearly a new piece, but he couldn't think of anyone who was at such a high level today. Who is the artist? As long as the price doesn't exceed 1 million, you buy it. Su Guofeng sent a message to Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao's eyes showed surprise. Dad, you're really willing to spend it. This is not a cultural relic, it's a modern work, and it wasn't written long ago. Mengyao, you don't understand, it's worth 1 million. Don't dawdle, just offer the other person 1 million to buy it. Su Guofeng urged. This was displayed by Jiang Xuesong, and he also bought it from someone else, so he definitely won't sell it to us. Su Guofeng regretted, that's a pity. Old Jian loves calligraphy very much, he definitely won't part with it. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. If Su Guofeng wanted it, it would be easy. She can always ask Lin Chen to buy it for her. If she didn't have such a big reputation, she could even ask her daughter for help. Dad, you should get some rest. You sent me this, so I won't be able to sleep for a while. I'll take a closer look and study it. Su Mengyao muttered, Lin Chen, how much more are you hiding? Lin Chen is top-notch at cooking, calligraphy, painting, and fairy tale creation, and he also speaks several foreign languages. Knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Su Mengyao said, and Xinsheng pushed open the door and came in. President Su, it's not easy to see you right now. Su Mengyao said helplessly, there's so much going on at the company. I have to deal with a lot of things personally. You're lucky, you don't lack money and you don't have much to do. Do you have anything planned for this afternoon? Going shopping? Xinsheng asked. Su Mengyao looked at her watch. I have a meeting in 45 minutes, I have to meet with the head of a government department. Xinsheng pursed her lips, can't you do less and earn less? Su Mengyao shook her head, it's not as simple as you think. If you don't advance with the times, you'll fall behind. If the company goes under, my parents and I will still be able to get by. But there are so many employees in the company. Many of them have been with my father since the beginning, and if the company goes under, what will happen to them? Xinsheng sighed lightly, you're right. With a group company as big as yours, you can't afford to let your guard down. Mengyao, I heard that Zhang Tianyu is courting you? Su Mengyao, I'm not interested in him. Xinsheng said with a grave expression, Mengyao, he's not a good person. If he gets rejected by you, will he do anything to Lin Chen or Shishi? Su Mengyao's face turned cold, how dare he? Chapter 38, have you and Lin Chen gotten married? Xinsheng said, you can never be too careful. Should you tell Lin Chen about this? If anything happens, he can be mentally prepared. Su Mengyao nodded slightly. I will tell Lin Chen about it. Xinsheng said with a smile, Mengyao, I think it's better to say this kind of thing face to face. When are you going? I'm free, so I might as well go with you. You're welcome. Su Mengyao looked at Xinsheng with a bad temper. You want to go over there and eat for free, don't you? Xinsheng said with a straight face, yes, I want to go over there and eat for free, so what? I've helped you bring your daughter back many times, so I can't eat for free? I'm busy these few days. Su Mengyao said. Xinsheng suddenly felt like a tomato. She muttered, Lin Chen's cooking is poisonous. Ever since I ate 2 meals at his place, I can't eat other meals anymore. I've lost weight recently. Mengyao, I'm relying on you for my happy life in the future. Su Mengyao, relying on me? Do you want me to introduce you too? You don't need to, you already know each other. Xinsheng. She said in a bad mood, what I mean is that if you hurry up and get together, I can often bum a meal. How else do you want to get together? Su Mengyao said calmly. Xinsheng blinked and said, get a marriage license and live together. Then I can visit you often. Done. Su Mengyao said. What? Xinsheng said in surprise. Su Mengyao said, last time I told you to come over, Lin Chen and I went out and we already got our marriage license. Xinsheng looked at Su Mengyao in shock. Su Mengyao said calmly, don't look at me like that. We just got a certificate, nothing else has changed. We also had it notarized in advance, so our property before and after marriage belongs to us. Then why did you get a certificate? Xinsheng asked doubtfully. Su Mengyao, Cici is young, but she is quite smart. She may have sensed that there is something wrong with our relationship. Having a marriage certificate can fool Cici. Xinsheng looked at Su Mengyao strangely, Mengyao, I think you've been fooled by Lin Chen, haven't you? Su Mengyao, why? Xinsheng said, do you need a real marriage certificate to fool Shishi? Can't you just make a fake one yourselves? Su Mengyao was stunned. At that time, she really hadn't thought about it that much. Lin Chen deliberately tricked me into getting a marriage certificate? Su Mengyao said. Xinsheng nodded, what else? Isn't it obvious? You're a big CEO and you've actually been tricked like this. It seems that you need me as a military advisor in terms of relationships. Su Mengyao. I'll call Lin Chen. Xinsheng hurriedly said, what are you calling for? You've already received the certificate, so at this point, are you going to get a divorce? I think this is pretty good for you guys. What's good about it? Xing said, you're a big iceberg, and if he doesn't have feelings for you, can you go together? He tricked you into getting a certificate, which means he has feelings for you. It seems like you guys have a chance. Su Mengyao, I was tricked, and you seem pretty happy about it. Xing laughed. The fact that you can get a marriage certificate with him means that you don't really reject Lin Chen, right? It doesn't matter if you were fooled. Su Mengyao gave Xing a wide-eyed glance. Mengyao, I think Lin Chen is not bad. He is much, much better than what your father found before. And the cooking, just thinking about it makes me drool. Xing said. Su Mengyao muttered to herself, Lin Chen is not just good at cooking. Xing, what do you think I should do? Su Mengyao asked. Xing said doubtfully, Mengyao, what do you mean? Su Mengyao said blankly, I don't hate Lin Chen, but I don't know how to love someone either. Sometimes I even have nightmares about what happened back then. Xing took Su Mengyao's hand. Mengyao, you can change your way of thinking. Maybe the fact that you were drugged back then was fate that heaven gave you in Lin Chen. It was Cici the little angel who wanted to be by your side. Su Mengyao thought of Lin Xiaoxi's face and a smile appeared. Mengyao, it's been 3 years, you should come out of it too. Xing said with some concern. Su Mengyao nodded slightly, what should I do? Xing laughed, go more, get in touch more. It's best to bring along my military advisor, I can help you. Have you developed a good impression of Lin Chen? Su Mengyao's face flushed slightly, I don't know. Xing nodded, if you say you don't know, then you do, otherwise your answer would definitely be no. Su Mengyao. Xing, Lin Chen doesn't seem to be very enthusiastic about me. Apart from the Shishi video, he hasn't sent me any WeChat. Xing thought for a moment and said, he has concerns. Your family is so wealthy, if he acts very enthusiastically, you would have to suspect that he is after your family's money, right? No. Su Mengyao shook her head. Zhao Yanming offered 800,000 yuan to buy a painting from Lin Chen, but Lin refused to sell. Lin Chen's painting, calligraphy, and cooking skills are all top-notch. As long as Lin Chen wants it, he definitely won't lack money. You think so, but he doesn't know that. He will definitely worry that being too enthusiastic will backfire. I think this is his plan, since you've already gotten your marriage certificate, he'll slowly cultivate a relationship with you. Xing said. Really? Su Mengyao said. Xing laughed and said, that's definitely the case. You have to trust the great military strategist, who is well-versed in the Love Bible. A single person who is well-versed in the Love Bible? Su Mengyao said. Xing, our company is preparing to hold a basketball match between various departments, and family members can also participate. Do you think I should let Lin Chen participate in the basketball match? Su Mengyao asked. Xing looked at Su Mengyao in surprise, if you let him participate, won't that directly expose the truth? Isn't that a bit too fast? Su Mengyao said, isn't this a good thing? If this is exposed, no one will pursue me anymore. I'm already married, but I haven't said anything yet. If it's exposed in the future, people might say things behind my back. Xing thought for a moment and said, you have to first make sure if Lin Chen can play basketball, or else it might backfire. Su Mengyao nodded. She took out her phone and dialed Lin Chen's number. You're just going to ask? Xing said in surprise. What else? Bring you to the door and ask again? Su Mengyao laughed. Lin Chen answered the phone soon after. His voice came over the line, Mengyao, do you want to know if Xiaoqian is doing well? Xiaoqian's cold is almost gone. Xiaoqian, it's Mommy on the phone. Mommy, I miss you so much. Lin Xiaoqian's sweet voice sounded. Su Mengyao, Mommy misses you too. Lin Chen, our company is going to hold a basketball game, and family members can participate too. Do you want to participate in the basketball game? Lin Chen was surprised. Mengyao, I'm playing in the basketball game? Su Mengyao's face turned slightly red, how good are you? If you can't play basketball, just forget it. Lin Xiaoqian's eyes lit up, Mom, Dad can play basketball. Lin Chen laughed, Mengyao, I know a little basketball. If I'm going to play, I'll practice a lot. Okay. Su Mengyao whispered, I'll register you. Chapter 39, The First Legendary Skill. Meng Yao, when does the competition start? You're the company president, what team will I be on? Lin Chen asked. Su Meng Yao, executives and their families will be drawn into other teams. You'll find out when the time comes. Okay. That's it then. Su Meng Yao hung up the phone. Shen Sheng, who was standing nearby, said with a smile, Meng Yao, are you nervous? Nervous? I'm not. Su Meng Yao said indifferently. Shen Sheng blinked, really? Usually after a phone call, you don't even say goodbye to Shishi, do you? Su Meng Yao. She really just forgot to say goodbye to Lin Xiaoxi. The others will probably be shocked when they find out. You actually have a husband, and you let him show up in public. Shen Sheng said. Su Meng Yao said indifferently, what's so strange about it? Shishi is so old now, it's only natural that I have a husband. Shishi is getting more and more sensible, and I can't hide the marriage certificate for long. Shen Sheng nodded. That's right, you guys still have to sleep together. Su Meng Yao gave Shen Sheng a wide-eyed glance. Shen Sheng, you want to sell me out quickly for a mouthful of food? Shen Sheng laughed, I think it's good for you guys to be together. You're busy outside, and Lin Chen can take care of Shishi. He cooks well and is very patient with Cici. Su Meng Yao didn't say anything. Meng Yao, if Lin Chen participates in the basketball game, won't your parents find out? How will you explain it then? Shen Sheng asked. Su Meng Yao, do I need to explain? Lin Chen is Cici's father, and for Cici's sake, I'm getting along with him a little better, which will be much better for Cici. Have you told your parents that you have a marriage certificate? Su Meng Yao shook her head. I didn't tell my parents, and he didn't tell his parents. This is a matter between the two of us, or between me, him, and Cici. It has nothing to do with our two families. Shen Sheng, don't blabber when the time comes. Shen Sheng nodded, well, I won't blabber. But your parents will find out sooner or later. Su Meng Yao said indifferently, we'll talk about it later. It's not a big deal to get a certificate. At this point, Su Meng Yao looked at the time. Shen Sheng stood up, a busy person, I know, I should go, you prepare for the meeting. I also prepare to go shopping. Shen Sheng left, Su Meng Yao tidied up her appearance. Her whole aura has undergone considerable changes. Just now she looked like the girl next door. Now she has become the powerful CEO of a company. Dad, here you go. Dad, it only listens to you. Lin Xiaoxi and Lin Chen were shooting basketballs at the bottom of the community. Lin Xiaoxi's cold was almost gone, so she could exercise moderately. She had been cooped up at home for a long time and really wanted to get out. Xiaoxi, you need to shoot more and play with it more, so that it will listen to you in the future. Lin Chen said gently. He patiently played with Lin Xiaoxi as she shot the ball. A lot of basketball information kept flooding into his mind, and his hands and feet became more and more coordinated. His sense of the ball and everything else was also constantly improving. It turned out that his level was already better than the main player on the university team. If he continues to improve, he will definitely reach national team standards. Uncle, can I play with you? A little girl about 3 years old approached and asked. Cici, is it okay? Lin Chen asked Lin Xiaoqian. Lin Xiaoqian happily said, Dad, of course it's okay. My name is Lin Xiaoqian, what's your name? My name is Nan Nan. The little girl was quite polite. Lin Chen laughed and said, Nan Nan, you can call her Cici. Lin Xiaoqian had lacked friends here, and now she finally had one, which made Lin Chen very happy. Although Lin Xiaoqian was young, she also needed her own friends. Hello. Nan Nan's mother came up and said hello. She wasn't bad looking, but compared to Su Meng Yao, she was much worse. Hello. Lin Chen responded politely. Little girl's mother, I've seen you a few times. You're very patient with your daughter, and she has a good father. Thank you. Lin Chen gave a faint smile. Little girl's mother, Cici's father, I'll go sit over there. If you have any questions, just call out to me, okay? Okay. Lin Chen nodded. This is good. It's not good for them to get caught up in their conversation. Besides, it will affect his gaining experience. Time passed by minute. Lin Chen taught both Lin Xiaoxi and the other child at the same time. Lin Xiaoxi had a little playmate, and she had a much more fun time. For Lin Chen himself, his experience was not affected. My girl, let's play together next time, he said. Okay. The exercise was over, and the two little ones reluctantly said goodbye. Xiaoxi, weren't you very happy playing with the other children? Lin Chen asked when they got home. Mm. Lin Xiaoxi nodded happily. Lin Chen smiled and said, today, it was your daughter who took the initiative to play with you. She was very brave, wasn't she? You must also be brave and play with other children. Okay? Lin Xiaoqian nodded, Dad, I will be very brave too. Dad, I'm a little hungry. Lin Chen laughed, your shirt is soaked with sweat. Dad will change your clothes first, and then cook for you. Lin Xiaoqian, Daddy, your cooking is delicious. Nan Nan is my best friend. Can she eat with me? Well. Lin Chen pondered. Xiaoqian, you can, but when you invite Nan Nan, you have to do it when Mommy is here. Why? Lin Xiaoqian asked in puzzlement. Lin Chen said, if Mommy isn't here, Nan Nan will think you don't have a mommy, and that wouldn't be very nice, would it? Lin Xiaoqian thought about it, I can tell her. I have a mother, and my mother is at work. Lin Chen. He shook his head. How was he going to explain to Lin Xiaoqian? Xiaoqian, you can ask your mother about this later and let her explain it to you. Dad is stumped by you. Lin Chen said. Soon Lin Chen had dressed Lin Xiaoqian. Dad, I want to draw. Okay, you draw and Dad will cook. 2 days passed, and Lin Chen slightly increased the time for basketball training. He taught Lin Xiaoqian for 1.5 hours every day. The total teaching time reached 5 hours. 10 hours to master level, 5 hours is very impressive. Even in the national team, it is definitely at the level of a starter. Coupled with Lin Chen's current strong physical fitness, he may not lose if he plays one-on-one with anyone in the national team. In the evening, Lin Chen told stories. Host, your fairy tale creation has reached legendary level. The system's voice sounded in Lin Chen's mind. A massive amount of information flooded into his mind. Lin Chen's eyes revealed a look of surprise. He had finally obtained his first legendary skill. Lin Xiaoqian likes to hear stories, before napping in the afternoon and before going to bed at night. This is the one that has improved the fastest. System, what is special about reaching legendary level? Lin Chen asked in his mind. He would be able to experience it himself after a while, but it was quicker to just ask. The system said, host, reaching legendary level will make the fairy tales you create more powerful. They will touch people's souls. You will also become more engaging when telling stories. Chapter 40, Reward the Golden League Leader. Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep, and Lin Chen went to the study. He didn't want to make money selling paintings and calligraphy, but he still needed to make money, and continuing to create fairy tales was a good choice. To sell paintings and calligraphy well and consistently, you need to be very famous, and being famous is not conducive to taking care of his child. There is no problem with writing fairy tales. Very few people have the ability to appreciate paintings and calligraphy, but children know whether a fairy tale is good or not. He can use the pen name Hua and quietly make money. Why hasn't Lin Yu updated recently? I tell my son 5 stories a day, which is a total of 60. If this continues, I won't last many days. Great God, please update. Lin Chen looked through the comments section and saw that there were quite a few people urging him to update. Lin Xiaoqian had been sick for 3 or 4 days and hadn't updated. There was no rush to make money, so he could just update whenever he felt like it. Lin Chen thought to himself. He planned to update 30 chapters a month. On average, that meant he only needed to update 1 chapter a day. That would allow him to publish a book every month. Even if the initial print run was small and the signing bonus was small, together with the income from his older books, his monthly income would not be less than 5 million. Although it is still far less than Su Mengyao's earnings, a few million a month, as long as you don't often buy buildings and luxury cars, this money can't be spent normally. Cracking. Lin Chen quickly started writing. With his skills reaching legendary level, many stories appeared in his mind, and he just needed to type them out. In 10 minutes, he typed out a story of over 1,000 words. This story is a bit interesting. Lin Chen muttered to himself. He read it over carefully on the computer screen. The system was right, with his current level, the story he wrote had a stronger appeal. It could touch people's souls. This story is going to make a lot of people cry. Lin Chen muttered to himself. He uploaded the story. Su Mengyao had finally finished work by now. She got into the car and the driver drove her home. She habitually opened Tongshin. Recently, she had been opening it several times a day. Hey! Su Mingyao's eyes lit up. She saw that Lin Yu had finally updated, but this time there was only one post. Be careful, it's poisonous. Lin Yu, big brother, make up for my tears. My daughter is crying, what if I can't comfort her? Su Mengyao first looked at the comments section. This one had only been published for half an hour, but there were already many comments, and the style of the illustrations was different from before. What's going on? Su Mengyao clicked in to read it. As she read, Su Mengyao's eyes filled with tears. When she reached the end, Su Mengyao couldn't hold back her tears. Lin Chen's level was obviously much higher. This story was so powerful, but why was it a tragedy? Su Mengyao's eyes were red. The little match girl was heartbreaking, but this story was much more powerful, and it had a full tear-inducing effect. President, are you okay? Driver Lian Yeshuan asked. I'm fine. I just read a tragic story. Su Mengyao clicked on the comment section again. In the short time, there were already many more comments. My daughter also cried her eyes out, but this story might make her more kind-hearted. A friendly reminder, prepare tissues first, and then prepare to spend at least half an hour comforting your child. Lin Yu's level seems to have improved even more. Su Mengyao read the comments one by one. There were many more comments on this story than before. It seems that some people feel the same way as I do. This one has seen a marked improvement in Lin Chen's level. Su Mengyao thought to herself. Just then she saw that Lin Yu had updated again. After reading this one, Su Mengyao's face revealed a faint smile. The first one was tragic, but this one is very healing. This one is not the kind of great joy, it is like a warm current that slowly seeps into the innermost recesses of the body. It's comfortable. Su Mengyao let out a long breath. She felt her whole body relax a lot. The first one let her vent her emotions, and the second one healed her. She felt much more at ease. Ha! Su Mengyao wanted to reward another silver, but she found that someone had beaten her to it. She clicked on the other person's profile and took a look. It was also a woman. Su Mengyao silently rewarded a gold. 100,000 yuan gone. But with her wealth, 100,000 yuan was nothing. The group is developing quite well these days. Under her management, the Su family's wealth has increased by more than 10%. The Su family's assets now total more than 30 billion yuan. More than 10% is 4 to 5 billion yuan. Her level has reached legendary, and the results are obvious. Lin Chen looked at the data in the background. The click and comment data was significantly higher than before, and there were more rewards. There were several large rewards. Who is this if life were a dream? He rewarded me with a Silver Alliance Master earlier, and now he has rewarded me with a Gold Alliance Master. Lin Chen muttered to himself. TongXIN.com has a separate reward chart for each story. There is also a general reward chart for the authors. Fuxing Grooming has rewarded him 110,000. Hello, thank you for your reward. But you have rewarded too much, there is no need to spend so much. Lin Chen sent a private message to Fuxing Grooming. Su Mengyao saw the message. It wasn't long before she sent Lin Chen a picture in return. Lin Chen clicked to open it. The picture was a screenshot of a bank text message. Just after spending 100,000 yuan in rewards, the balance of Fu Shang Ruomang's bank card suddenly showed more than 80 million yuan. What a local tyrant! Lin Chen was secretly amazed. What is the concept of having more than 80 million yuan in current account? Sorry to bother you, boss. Lin Chen replied and closed the webpage. Since the other party was such a local tyrant, and since they liked it and rewarded 100,000 yuan, there was naturally no problem. TongXIN.com. Lao Feng, how do you feel? Chen Xinhuan couldn't help but ask. He had already read both stories several times. Chen Xinhuan called Feng Anwen Lao Feng, Old Feng. He was the deputy editor-in-chief and had been an editor at TongXIN.com for more than 10 years. Lao Feng. Chen Xinhuan called again. Feng Anren was so engrossed in the story that he didn't hear the first call. Editor-in-chief, what's wrong? Feng Anren asked. Chen Xinhuan, I asked you how you felt. Feng Anren was overwhelmed. Lin Yu de Banzi's previous writings were already considered to be the best, but I never expected him to break through the ceiling this time. I don't think anyone at home or abroad can match these two articles. Chen Xinhan was surprised. Such a high evaluation? Feng'anran nodded. They deserve such praise. Editor-in-chief, do you think you can find better fairy tales? Chen Xinhan shook his head. I can't. I feel the same way, but we can't promote them like that. Let's not attract any bad publicity for Lin Yu de Banzi. Feng'anran said, of course. Chief editor, do you think Lin Yu's masterful writing is a stroke of luck, or has he reached a higher level of creativity? It should be a stroke of luck. Chen Xinhan said, if a masterpiece of this caliber can be produced casually, that would be a bit perverted. Brothers, please contribute some free love power. Amazed face, / Chapter 41, Fairy Tales in Textbooks? Morning, Jiang Family Villa. Grandpa, Lin Yu, the person you told me to keep an eye on, has made a move. He posted 2 fairy tales last night. A woman in her 20s said. Yan, is the quality of his new stories okay? Jiang Shuesong asked. Today is the day he asked his old friend to come over to appreciate the calligraphy. Jiang Yan said, Grandpa, the quality is really good. My best friend even rewarded him 10,000 yuan after reading it. Which best friend of yours rewarded him? Jiang Shuesong asked. Jiang Yan, Xinu. Who else could it be but her? Although others can afford it, they would definitely not be willing to reward someone 10,000 yuan. Xinu is a local tyrant, she doesn't care about this amount of money. Jiang Shuesong, let me take a look when you find it. Although the girl Xinu is rich, she is not such an impulsive person. Jiang Yan quickly found the fairy tale that Lin Chen sent last night. Jiang Shuesong slowly read it with his reading glasses. After reading it the first time, he silently read it again. Last night I cried while reading it, so I blamed it on Xinu and said we should cry together. After a while, she sent me a screenshot of her giving Lin Yu a reward of 10,000 yuan. But her ranking quickly fell to second place. Jiang Yan said. Jiang Shuesong said in surprise, someone gave a higher reward? Jiang Yan said, the other person gave Lin Yu a reward of 100,000 yuan for being the Golden Alliance leader. Grandpa, there's another one. It didn't take long for Jiang Shuesong to finish reading the second article. He felt as if he had been baptized. A lot of pessimistic and negative emotions seemed to have been vented. A masterpiece of all time. Just now I was wondering if the first article was suitable for inclusion in textbooks. Together, the 2 articles are very suitable. Jiang Shuesong said with a smile. Jiang Yan's eyes lit up, they can be included in Chinese textbooks? Jiang Shuesong, I'll reflect on it. I have some faith, these 2 articles are of such high quality that they should be fine. If my contribution is not enough, I'll ask those old friends who came today to pitch in a little. Yan, do you know why I called you back? Jiang Yan looked at her grandfather with a somewhat dejected expression. Grandpa, I know. Jiang Shuesong smiled. Birth, aging, sickness, and death are the norm for people. Grandpa is getting old, and he might go away one day. Grandpa can't rest assured about you. Tears glistened in Jiang Yan's eyes. Grandpa, don't say that. You should at least live to be 100 years old. I don't dare to hope for 100 years old. Jiang Shuesong said with a smile. Ding dong. At 9 o'clock in the morning, the guests arrived one after another. Jiang Shuesong invited some old friends, but they were old, and some of them would be accompanied by younger people. By 9:30, the villa became very lively. Jiang Shuesong's old friends came more than 10 people, and with the younger ones, there were a total of more than 30 guests. The nanny had the day off. Jiang Yan was responsible for serving tea to everyone. Brother Jiang, everyone is here. Where are the things? Someone couldn't help but ask. Everyone looked at Jiang Shuesong, who smiled and said, Xiao Yan, go get the preface to the Orchid Pavilion collection. Okay, Grandpa. Jiang Yan quickly took out the calligraphy. The calligraphy was framed, and Jiang Shuesong spent tens of thousands of yuan on the framing. Everyone, come one by one. The rest of you can have some tea first. The first group of 5 old men gathered around, and after a while they all looked in awe. It was amazing. This level is not much worse than the calligraphy of the sage, is it? There may be a slight difference, but it definitely beats ours. The old men spoke one after the other. The rest of the people who had not yet had a chance to take a closer look were itching to do so. Lao Lu, you have been looking at it for so long, come over and have some tea first, let us look at it for a while. Yes, don't your legs hurt after standing for so long? After being urged by the others for a while, the first group finally stepped back. The second group quickly pushed their way through. Brother Jiang, how much did you pay for this? One of the first group of elderly men asked. Jiang Shuasan laughed and said, it cost 300,000 yuan. When I received it, I felt that the price was too low and wanted to pay an additional 200,000 yuan. I also wanted to spend another 500,000 yuan to buy another one, but the other party refused to sell. The other party even confiscated the 200,000 yuan. Another elderly man said with regret, that's a pity. 500,000 yuan is not cheap, but I can afford it too. Brother Jiang, you've hidden the signature. Did the master Lin Yu mention his real name on this painting? Jiang Shuasan nodded slightly. Time passed by minute. Everyone admired the paintings in turn, and after they were done, they sat down together to drink tea and exchange views enthusiastically. Dear friends, Lin Yu recently wrote 2 fairy tales. I recommend you read them. Jiang Shuasan said with a smile. Everyone took out their phones and logged onto the Tongxin website. After 10 minutes they had all finished reading them. Jiang Shuasan said, personally, I think they could be included in textbooks. What do you think? I think they can. Absolutely. Everyone agreed. Jiang Shuasan said, let's give it a push. Although we are in the calligraphy world, if we join forces we still have some influence, so it shouldn't be a problem. I think it's fine. Count me in. In the future, Master Lin Yu will be remembered in history, and we might even be remembered in the unofficial history. Everyone agreed. With their influence, this is a very likely thing. Don't look at the many people online who are much more famous than they are. Those people on the internet may not be able to influence the above, but their opinions can be passed on. Some of the people above are even their students. Sales have skyrocketed? Lin Chen's eyes showed surprise. Editor-in-Chief Chen, what's going on? How did sales skyrocket again? Lin Chen sent a message inquiring. He had brought Lin Xiaoxi to rarely use her phone during the day. Using her phone was simply a source of joy, and he had brought Lin Xiaoxi to constantly improve, bringing a much greater joy than using her phone. Chen Xinheng happily replied, Jiang Lao has exchanged with many people, and those people have spoken out in praise. Each of them has a strong influence, and together they are a very powerful force. The second book should sell out of 1 million copies soon. The first book has been printed 3 times, with a total of 1.8 million copies. The second book has only been printed 1 million copies. Lin Chen's face showed a faint smile. After it sold out, he could sell another batch, and he could make a lot of small money again. Big brother Lin Yu, can you provide some more signed books? Lin Chen quickly replied, in the future, I will only provide 1,000 signed books for each book. I won't provide autographed copies of the first or second book. Chen Xinhan was very sorry, Big brother Lin Yu, you are the boss. Big brother Lin Yu, there are many people asking for news about you. Lin Chen, you must keep it a secret. If you leak the news, there may be no follow-up cooperation. Okay. Chen Xinhan quickly promised. Lin Chen turned his head and looked at Lin Xiaoxi, who was sleeping. He didn't lack money now, but he couldn't let money affect Lin Xiaoxi. Drip. The phone rang again. It was actually a message from Su Mengyao. Lin Chen, the basketball game is the day after tomorrow. I'll send you the basketball uniform over, do you provide meals? Su Mengyao felt a little awkward after sending the message, so she quickly withdrew it. Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. It seems that the iceberg has melted a little. Handsome guys and beautiful girls, this is a single female protagonist story. Chapter 42, Are you staying here tonight? Lin Chen, the basketball game is the day after tomorrow. Xin Shang and I will come in the afternoon to see Shishi. I will also bring your basketball uniform over in the afternoon. Su Mengyao re-edit and sent the message. Lin Chen did not reply immediately. Su Mengyao was shy, and if he replied right away, Su Mengyao would definitely suspect that he had seen the message just now. Maybe she wouldn't come for 10 or 20 days. Half an hour passed. Lin Chen simply replied, okay. Su Mengyao was relieved to see Lin Chen's reply like this. Lin Chen and I are just getting married. How can I take the initiative to ask if someone will take care of the meals? No matter how delicious Lin Shen's dishes are, I can't do this. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. Su Mengyao and Xinqing came at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Mom, Auntie Qingqing. Lin Xiaoxi shouted cheerfully as the door opened. Cici, Mom misses you so much. Su Mengyao quickly picked up Lin Xiaoxi and kissed her. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice, Mom, I miss you too. Auntie Qingqing, I miss you too. Mom, can I let Nan Nan come to dinner? Su Mengyao asked, Who is Nan Nan? Lin Xiaoxi, Nan Nan is my good friend. We often play together. Nanan's mom gave me delicious food. Xinqing, Sisai, Nanan's mother took her to play downstairs, and your father took you to play downstairs, and you got to know each other and became good friends, right? Yes, yes. Lin Xiaoqian smiled sweetly. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said with a smile, Mengyao, I didn't say much to Nanan's mother. Xiaoqian, you can testify for Daddy. Lin Xiaoqian said doubtfully, Dad, you talked to Auntie, and you seem to have had a good time. Lin Chen. Mom, I want to invite Nan Nan to dinner, but Dad said I can only invite her when you're here. Can I invite Nan Nan now? Lin Xiaoqian asked. Su Mengyao stroked her little head and smiled, some other day, okay? Auntie Qingqing is here today, so when she's not here, you can invite her, okay? Mom, why? Lin Chen said, Auntie Qingqing is a guest, and so is your daughter. We have to take care of our guests, don't we? If we invite them both at the same time, we won't be able to take care of them both, will we? Lin Xiaoqian pondered. After a while, she nodded, You're right, Dad. I'll invite your daughter over for dinner next time. Su Mengyao handed Lin Chen a bag. Lin Chen, try it on. See if this basketball uniform fits. Lin Chen nodded. He took the bag and went to the bathroom. Xinqing asked in a low voice, Sisai, Qingqing Auntie has a question for you. Is your mother pretty? Lin Xiaoqian answered without thinking, Yes, but I think my mother is the prettiest, and so is you, Auntie Qingqing. Sisai, this is our little secret. Don't tell your father. Xinqing cautioned. Why can't I tell Dad? Lin Xiaoqian asked in puzzlement. Su Mengyao, Sisai, this is a secret. You, Auntie Qingqing, and your secrets cannot be told. Sisai, let's go to the balcony. Your parents may want to kiss quietly. Xinqing hugged Lin Xiaoqian and walked towards the balcony. Lin Chen quickly changed into his basketball uniform. Su Mengyao saw surprise in his eyes. Lin Chen looked thin and didn't give off the impression of being strong at all, but after changing into the basketball uniform, Su Mengyao noticed that the arm circumference of Lin Chen's arms was not small at all. Mengyao, you picked the right size. This basketball uniform fits me quite well. Lin Chen said with a smile. As long as it fits. Let's go to the study and chat. The two arrived in the study, and Lin Chen explained, Mengyao, I didn't say much to the other person's mother. We just chat a little politely every time. Su Mengyao, we're just getting married for show. Even if you do have something with her for real, I won't have a problem with it. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao with a smile. Su Mengyao felt a little uncomfortable when he looked at her like that. What are you looking at me like that for? You can't have any ideas. Lin Chen said, You told me to come in. Do you have something on your mind? Su Mengyao said, I told you to come in just so she would think that we had intimate relations. Do you understand what I mean? Lin Chen nodded, I understand. How is the basketball game arranged? Su Mengyao let out a sigh of relief. There are a total of 10 teams in the company basketball game. Each team has 12 people, and there are 10 people from the company's senior management participating, with each team being assigned one senior management member. Lin Chen laughed, It seems like it's not a joke. If we win, will there be a reward at the end? Su Mengyao said, The salary of everyone in the first place department will be doubled for that month, and the salary of the second place department will be increased by 50%. The 10 senior managers will only be rewarded if the champion team wins. The prize is 1 million yuan, and each person will contribute 100,000 yuan. 100,000 yuan is not much for Su Mengyao and the others. If they can win, 1 million yuan is not bad. How is it compared? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao said, It is divided into Group A and Group B. There are 5 teams in each group, and each team will compete against each other. Winning a game is worth 3 points, a tie is worth 1 point, and losing is worth 0 points. The team with the highest total score in the group will enter the finals. Lin Chen said, the champion team needs to play 5 games, and the other teams need to play 4 games, so it will definitely take more than one day. Su Mengyao, it's on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If there is a game, we will work normally if there is no game. We will play 2 games on Wednesday and Thursday, and only 1 game on Friday, which is the final. Lin Chen frowned and said, sis, I needs to take a nap on Wednesday and Thursday, so I may only be able to play in 1 game every day. Su Mengyao nodded, that's fine. Each team has 12 people, so they don't need to play in every game. Lin Chen asked, competing in your company? Yes. Su Mengyao nodded, the basketball court in the company is not bad. You can take Cici there to have a look tomorrow. By the way, meet and get to know your teammates. Lin Chen asked, you will show up then, right? How will you introduce me? Will we be exposed like this? Su Mengyao said calmly, I will introduce you as my husband, and I am the boss. They dare not make trouble. Exposing yourself like this might cause some people to give you trouble. If it does, just let me know. I'll handle it. Lin Chen nodded slightly. With Su Mengyao's looks and her money, even if she has a daughter, she definitely won't lack suitors. Lin Chen, you'll face some trouble. As compensation to you, I'll buy this house from the landlord and put it in Shishi's name. But you can live here as long as you want. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen shook his head, there's no need. I've already found the landlord and bought the house. The contract has been signed, and the transfer can be completed in a few days. Ha! Su Mengyao was stunned. Lin Chen smiled faintly, Cici likes it here, so I bought it. Are you staying here tonight? Chapter 43, you tricked me into getting a marriage certificate? Su Mengyao's face flushed slightly, why would I stay here? Lin Chen laughed, to sleep with Xiao Qian. Xiao Qian misses her mother, otherwise why do you think I let you stay here? Su Mengyao's beautiful eyes glanced at Lin Chen. Did you pay the full price for this house or take out a loan? If it's a loan, I'll help you pay it off. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen, full price. Su Mengyao said in surprise, is writing fairy tales so profitable? Lin Chen said, it's definitely not as profitable as you, but it's a good job, and there's no problem supporting a family. Su Mengyao nodded. Have you practiced basketball in the past few days? Cici will watch it too, so don't play too badly. Lin Chen said with a smile, don't worry about that. I'm known as the Chinese Jordan, so there's no problem with my level. It's still early for dinner, shall we go for a walk? Su Mengyao hesitated a little. Lin Chen said, let's go for a walk, to discourage those single young women and wives in the community from thinking that I'm available. Su Mengyao. Okay. Let Chen Sheng bring more people along, so she doesn't keep trying to tag along for the meal. Soon Lin Chen changed back into his clothes and the two went out the door. Auntie Qingqing, why are you stopping me? I want to go for a walk with my parents too. Lin Xiaoxi asked innocently. Xinxing, 2 reasons. First, if you go out with your parents, I will be sad if I am left alone. Second, don't your parents spend less time together? They need to spend time alone to cultivate their relationship. Don't you think so? Lin Xiaoxi nodded with a knowing smile. Cici, you teach me to draw. I think Cici's drawing is very good. Xin Cheng said. Lin Xiaoxi giggled and said, Dad taught me. My dad is the best. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao arrived downstairs. There was a walking trail winding around the entire community. The two of them went for a walk on the trail. Lin Chen, have you read the news online? Jiang Xuesong and a group of calligraphy masters highly praise you. Aren't you going to show your face? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen shook his head, I don't plan to. Am I not doing well now? I have enough money to spend, and I can also devote myself to taking care of Xiaoqian. We just need to work hard for Shishi. It would be a problem if neither of us had time to take care of Shishi. Su Mengyao nodded slightly. Mengyao, when your father returns and takes over the company, why don't you come and stay with me for a while? Lin Chen asked with a smile. Su Mengyao blushed a little and said, don't be silly, why would I come and stay? It wouldn't be appropriate for me to come and stay. Lin Chen said, there's no one in the guest room. You can sleep in the guest room, or you can sleep with Shishi and I'll sleep in the guest room. If you stay here for a while, Xiao Qian will definitely be very happy. Su Mengyao was silent for a while and said, let's talk about it later. Lin Chen, what happened back then has left a psychological shadow on me, and I still have nightmares occasionally. Cici, you'll just have to work a little harder. Lin Chen, Cici is my daughter, it's only right that I take care of her. Mengyao, the little girl playing on the mezzanine level in front is Nan Nan, and the one next to her is her mother. Su Mengyao and Lin Chen moved a little closer. Uncle Lin, where is Cici? The two moved a little closer together, and then Nan Nan called out as she saw Lin Chen. Lin Chen smiled and said, Cici is at home. She has an aunt coming over, and she is playing with her aunt at home. Nan Nan's mother asked, Cici's father, this must be Cici's mother, right? Nan Nan, you need to call her auntie. Auntie. Nan Nan called out quickly. Hello, I'm Cici's mother. My daughter, Cici has told me about you. She says you're her best friend. Su Mengyao said with a smile. Yes, Cici and I are good friends. My daughter nodded. Lin Chen laughed. My daughter, you continue playing, we'll go first. The two of them walked a little further apart, and Su Mengyao said, Lin Chen, my daughter's mother is quite good looking. Lin Chen laughed and said, she's not as good looking as you. Su Mengyao said, so you deliberately tricked me into getting a marriage certificate? Lin Chen said, no, that's not true. I went with you to get a marriage certificate, wasn't it for Xiao Qian? Su Mengyao said indifferently. Xinqing said that to trick Xiao Qian with a marriage certificate, you don't need a real one, just make a fake one. She said that I was tricked by you. Lin Chen coughed lightly and said, that's right. We never thought that she would come up with it. Xinqing is pretty clever. Clever people have to work hard and can't be greedy. She shouldn't come to my place for dinner anymore. Su Mengyao glanced at Lin Chen. It seems that she was right. You tricked me into getting a marriage certificate. Lin Chen said apologetically, I did it for Xiao Qian. Let's get a certificate first and slowly cultivate our relationship. I don't want her to have a stepfather in the future, and you don't want her to have a stepmother, do you? Su Mengyao nodded slightly. Don't worry, she definitely won't have a stepfather. Lin Chen laughed, then you can rest assured that she won't have a stepmother either. Mengyao, your family is very wealthy, but I want you to know that I don't want your family's money. We also did a notarized property declaration before marriage. Su Mengyao nodded, I believe that. With your abilities, you won't lack money if you show it a little. Don't blame Xinqiang. She said a lot of good things about you so that she can eat your meals for a long time. Lin Chen laughed and said, then add a dish for her tonight. Su Mengyao laughed and said, you're so realistic. She exposed you, so you told her not to come anymore, you add a dish for her after she spoke up for you. Lin Chen said with a smile, that's normal. If she's just causing trouble, I seriously suspect that she's jealous of you. Jealous of me for what? Lin Chen, jealous that you have a good husband. Su Mengyao. She said coquettishly, Lin Chen, you've got a really thick skin. Lin Chen laughed and said, if we're going to add more dishes, we don't have enough food at home. Shall we go to the nearby grocery store and buy some more? Okay. Su Mengyao nodded. After walking around the residential area, Lin Chen and his family left the residential area and the two of them went to the nearby grocery store together to buy some food. Lin Chen could feel the iceberg slowly melting. Dad, Mom. Lin Xiaoxi ran over happily when they got home. Lin Chen smiled and said, Mengyao, you keep Cici company, I need to hurry up and cook dinner. Cici, tell your mother what you've learned. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Lin Chen took the groceries into the kitchen. Su Mengyao was led by Lin Xiaoxi to the balcony. Xinqiang pointed at a painting and exclaimed, Mengyao, look at this, can you believe that this was painted by Cici? Her painting skills have improved explosively. Su Mengyao's eyes also revealed a look of surprise. Compared to last time, Lin Xiaoxi had improved a lot. Thinking about Lin Chen's talent in drawing, Su Mengyao felt that Lin Xiaoxi should have inherited Lin Chen's talent in drawing. It's just that she hadn't been able to tap it well before. Cici, you're so good. Mommy will reward you with a kiss. Su Mengyao kissed Lin Xiaoxi's little face and said. Lin Xiaoxian cooed, Mom, Dad taught me, and you have to reward Dad with a kiss too. Chapter 44, Why do I have to sleep here? An hour later, Lin Chen finished cooking. Lin Chen, is there something good today? There's one more dish than last time. Xinqing said in surprise. Lin Shen laughed. I bought this apartment, it's rare to be lively, so let's celebrate a little today. Ah. Lin Shen, you should have said earlier. You see, I came empty-handed and didn't buy any gifts. Xin Cheng said apologetically. Lin Shen shook his head. There's no need for gifts, just have a casual meal. Everyone sit down, I think I've made some progress in my cooking. Xin Cheng said in surprise, your cooking can still improve? Soon Su Mengyao and Xin Cheng started eating. This. Mengyao, it seems like you really have improved again. Xin Cheng said in disbelief after trying the two dishes. Su Mengyao, it's not just like it, it's real. Lin Shen, your cooking skills have already surpassed those of a 5-star chef. You use relatively ordinary ingredients, but the taste is not inferior in the slightest. It's delicious. Every dish is delicious. Xin Cheng was full of praise. Lin Xiaoxi said in a cute voice, Mom, Dad's meat is delicious, and the vegetables are delicious too. I'm not fussy about food anymore, I'm a good boy. Xin Cheng said, Cici, if you're still a picky eater with your father's cooking, you'll get a spanking. Meng Yao suspected that Cici was not a picky eater. She would probably be even more picky if she ate elsewhere. Su Mengyao's eyes showed concern. Lin Shen laughed and said, Cici is still young, so we should make sure she gets enough nutrition. When she grows up, she can still starve herself, right? Su Mengyao nodded. After dinner, Xin Cheng rubbed her stomach and said, Lin Shen, your cooking is so delicious, which is both a strength and a weakness. If I eat it every day, I'll definitely get fat. Lin Shen laughed and said, you'll only eat too much if you eat it occasionally. If you eat it every day, why would you need to eat like this? Xin Cheng was taken aback. You're right. You three go out, and I'll do the dishes. I'm not going to feel comfortable eating without doing some work. Xin Cheng said. Lin Shen, you washing the dishes, this is not good. Xin Cheng shook her head, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm also doing this so I can come over more often for a few meals. Meng Yao is very busy, and it's rare for your family to have time to get together. Just leave it to Xin Cheng. She should do some work to digest all the food she's eaten. Su Meng Yao said. You guys go out quickly, don't affect my performance. Xin Cheng waved her hand. Lin Chen and the others went downstairs. Lin Xiaoqian took Su Mengyao's left hand and Lin Chen's right hand. Su Mengyao felt a little strange in her heart. It was quite warm to take a walk as a family of three. Lin Chen, I have something to discuss with you. After the basketball game, can you take Qianqian abroad for a trip? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen said, Qianqian's grandparents miss her? Su Mengyao nodded, they miss Qianqian very much. But I haven't had time to go abroad recently because of a lot of things back home. Lin Chen crouched down, Sisai, go over there and play on the slide while your parents and I talk. Lin Sisai skipped off happily. Mengyao, I don't have a problem with that. But is it a good time to meet your parents? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao said impatiently, you're not meeting my parents, you're taking Sisai to meet her grandparents. You don't need to show up when you get there. My dad will send a car to pick you and CC up. You can stay at a nearby hotel. If you don't think it's a good idea, just buy some fruit or something and go visit her once. Cici will probably only be at the hospital in the morning, and she'll be taking a nap at noon. In the afternoon, you can just take Cici around there. Is that okay? Lin Chen nodded slightly, I'm fine with that. But I don't have a passport, and I still need a visa to go to the United States, right? Su Mengyao said, that's easy. You apply for it, and I'll find someone to help you hurry it up, and it'll be ready soon. Lin Chen nodded. He wasn't interested in going to the United States in other ways, but he wanted to go to the shooting range and have some fun. His marksmanship was pretty good these days. He had taken Lin Xiaoxi to the amusement park 5 times, and every time he went, he would take Lin Xiaoxi to play the shooting game. Each time they played for 20 minutes. The 5 times added up to almost 2 hours. 10 hours of shooting can reach the level of a master, and 2 hours is pretty good. Many soldiers are not as good as him. Lin Chen, thank you. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said seriously, Mengyao, in fact, I should thank you. Thank you for giving birth to Lin Xiaoqian and giving me such a cute daughter. Thank you for working hard alone to bring her up to this age. Su Mengyao's heart trembled slightly. Cici is alone over there, let's go over. Su Mengyao walked quickly towards the front. Unconsciously an hour passed, Lin Chen and the others returned home, and Lin Xiaoxi said cheerfully, Mommy, Daddy, I had a really, really happy day. Cici, I'm glad you're happy. Su Mengyao smiled. Shen Chang. Go into the room, Su Mengyao called out. There was no answer, and the room was dark. Drip. Su Mengyao dialed Shen Qing's phone. The phone connected and Shen Qing's voice came over. Mengyao, I have to leave in a hurry. I took your car. Isn't Lin Chen going to your company tomorrow? You guys go together, and I'll take your car to the villa. Su Mengyao. Traitor. Shen Qing, Mengyao, I really have something to do. I suddenly remembered that I didn't seem to have turned off the gas stove at home. I'm driving, so I'll hang up. After saying this, Shen Qing quickly hung up the phone. Lin Chen Duo said, Mengyao, you can sleep with Cici tonight. I'll sleep in the guest room. Lin Xiaoxi was puzzled. Dad, why? The bed is so big, it can sleep the three of us. Lin Chen Duo crouched down. He kissed Lin Xiaoxi and said, Xiaoxi, you're still young, you don't understand some things. Do you want your mom to stay? If you do, we can sleep like this. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. I want to sleep with my mom. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said, Mengyao, what do you think? If you want to go back, I'll drive you there. Su Mengyao shook her head and said, forget it, it's a hassle. She couldn't accept living with Lin Chen, but she could barely accept staying here for just one night. Lin Chen said, there are some new women's pajamas in the closet. Last time I bought pajamas for myself and Lin Xiaoxian, and she said she wanted to buy some for her mom, so I bought 2 sets. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice, Mom, you have to thank me, and I said, you're welcome. Su Mengyao. Lin Chen laughed and said, Xiaoxi, Mom is so touched. She was so moved that she couldn't speak for a while. Mengyao, you go take a shower, I'll wash Xiaoxi. Su Mengyao nodded. There are 2 bathrooms in the house where you can take a shower at the same time. Voila! The water dripping on her body made Su Mengyao feel a little dazed. Why did she have to sleep here? Chapter 45, Let's Hear You Scream Husband. After taking a shower, Su Mengyao walked out of the bathroom. Lin Chen was telling Lin Xiaoxi a story. He looked up and saw Su Mengyao coming out, and he froze. Su Mengyao, who had just taken a shower, had rosy skin, and after a little blow-drying, her long, dark hair was half-dry and draped over her shoulders. The pajamas were not very long, and her slender legs were partially exposed. She was beautiful, so beautiful. Lin Chen felt a strong desire to create. He wanted to capture this moment with his paintbrush. Lin Chen, you're still looking. Su Mengyao glared at Lin Chen with some embarrassment. Lin Chen coughed lightly and said, Xiaoqian asked me to tell her a story, and I haven't finished it yet, so you continue. He put down the storybook and walked out reluctantly. Su Mengyao went to the door and locked it. Her previous encounters had made her feel very insecure. Not to mention Lin Chen, she even locked the door at home. Cici, didn't you say your mom was going to stay with you? Why did you let your dad come and tell you stories? Su Mengyao asked Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Xiaoxi was puzzled. Mom, is that not okay? Okay, where did Dad leave off? Mom will read to you for a while, and then you'll go to sleep. Su Mengyao said. She quickly began to read to Lin Xiaoqian. Outside, Lin Chen quickly took out paper and oil paints. He was very fast, and in about an hour he finished painting a woman who had just finished bathing. The woman looked 8 or 9 parts like Su Mengyao. Click. Su Mengyao walked out of the room. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. The oil painting he had just finished was still wet. Lin Chen, what are you painting? Su Mengyao came over as she saw Lin Chen painting. Cough. I just got some inspiration and painted it. Lin Chen said sheepishly. Su Mengyao looked at the woman in the painting. You're painting me? But I don't look this good. Lin Chen smiled. Mengyao, believe me, you look this good. This is a portrait of you just now. Did you come out for something? Su Mengyao said, I came out to drink some water because I was thirsty from telling the story. Lin Chen, I'll buy this painting from you. I'll pay 1 million. Lin Chen shook his head. You don't need to buy it. I painted it to give to you. Why would I paint it and keep it for myself to admire in secret later? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Isn't that what you planned? Lin Chen shook his head repeatedly. Of course not. Why would I appreciate the painting when there is a real beauty to admire? Su Mengyao's face turned slightly red. I didn't know you were so smooth-talking before. When the painting dries, you put it up so that Cici doesn't see it. After finishing her drink, Su Mengyao hurried back to the bedroom. Bang, bang. She covered her chest, feeling her heart pounding. Ink paintings are amazing, but oil paintings are also so amazing. I really can't figure this Lin Chen guy out anymore. Su Mengyao thought to herself. Lying on the bed, looking at Lin Xiaoxi, who was sleeping soundly beside her, Su Mengyao suddenly realized that Lin Chen slept in this bed every night. They were indirectly sleeping in the same bed. And they were even sharing the same quilt. I don't seem to be too repulsed by it. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. It was only when she lay down on the bed that she suddenly thought of all this. Gradually, Su Mengyao fell asleep. Su Mengyao slept very soundly that night. Even when she slept at home, she often woke up in the middle of the night, but not last night. It seemed to be safer to sleep here than at home. Why is that so? Su Mengyao muttered to herself. Could it be that my villa is too big and I don't feel safe? But it's the same when I stay in a hotel on business trips. Su Mengyao thought to herself. Puff. Su Mengyao gave Lin Xiaoxi a soft kiss and got up. It was still early, so Lin Xiaoxi went back to sleep. Good morning, dear. Lin Chen said, smiling. Su Mengyao. She glared at Lin Chen and said, Lin Chen, who told you to call me that? Lin Chen said, Mengyao, we're going to your company, and everyone will know that we're married, so occasionally I still have to call you wife, don't you think? You have to call me husband occasionally, too. Otherwise, you'll just keep calling me Lin Chen, won't you? Su Mengyao. Lin Chen continued, if you introduce me to someone, you can't just say, this is my roommate Lin Chen, can you? Su Mengyao was speechless. What do you want for breakfast, honey? Su Mengyao said coquettishly, don't you dare call me that. Lin Chen said, honey, I'm just calling you a few times to get you used to it, so you won't. This. Okay. Let's hurry up and rinse our mouths and wash our faces. Su Mengyao said. The two hurriedly finished washing up and went to the dining table. For breakfast, Lin Chen had prepared noodles, which looked very tempting. Su Mengyao said in surprise, Lin Chen, did you knead the dough yourself and make the noodles by hand? Lin Chen nodded. Yes, dried noodles aren't very tasty. I added something else to this noodles. Su Mengyao took a bite. She was stunned. Is this really noodles? It's so delicious. Mom, Dad makes really delicious noodles. Lin Xiaoxi said, taking a bite with a fork. Su Mengyao said to Lin Chen, aren't you spoiling Xiaoxi too much? She'll definitely be a picky eater when she's older. Lin Chen smiled and said, it's fine to spoil her a little when it comes to food. I'll definitely teach her what she needs to know in other areas. Eat it while it's still hot. Su Mengyao was extremely satisfied after finishing the bowl of noodles. She usually doesn't eat badly, but compared to this, all the breakfast she usually eats can only be thrown in the trash. Lin Chen, I'll clean up. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoqian, Mom, you have to call your husband. Dad calls you wife, you have to call him husband. Dad, don't you think so? Lin Chen gave a thumbs up, Xiaoqian, you're absolutely right, and Dad gives you a big thumbs up. If Mom calls her husband, I don't want her to wash the dishes. Lin Xiaoqian quickly said, Mom, you call him. Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a cold stare. In front of Lin Xiaoqian, she felt a little embarrassed. But thinking about what Lin Xiaoqian had said in the bathroom just now, she still opened her mouth and called out, husband. Yes. Lin Xiaoqian laughed happily. You little brat, you're so smart for your age. Su Mengyao pointed her finger at Lin Xiaoqian's forehead and said. More than an hour later, Lin Chen drove into a company. Mengyao, are these all your companies? Lin Chen said in surprise. Su Mengyao nodded, the building on the left is the headquarters building. The building on the right is the company's dormitory building. The building in the front right is the company's sports center, with 2 standard basketball courts on the first and second floors. The basement level is the swimming pool, the 3rd floor is the badminton hall, and the 4th floor is the table tennis hall. Lin Chen smiled and said, it seems like your company has good benefits. Su Mengyao nodded and said, my father is very good to his employees. He set up all of this before. Turn left up ahead. You can park the car in the underground parking lot. Lin Chen soon arrived at the entrance to the parking lot. There was also a security guard here. President. The security guard saluted as soon as he saw Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao nodded slightly and said, "Enter the license plate number of this car into the system, and in the future, just let it through if it comes here again." "Yes, President." Lin Chen drove the car to the underground parking lot. Under Su Mengyao's command, Lin Chen drove the car to the high-level parking area. Each parking space here is a bit longer and bigger. There are about 10 luxury cars parked in the parking spaces. Lin Chen's car looks a bit shabby when parked here. "Lin Chen, if you come here in the future, you can park directly over here. This area is where the company's leadership and some VIPs who come to the company park," Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen nodded, "Okay." The three got out of the car, and there was a special elevator for high-level executives next to them. Lin Chen and the others took the elevator directly to the top floor of the building. "Hello, President." Seeing some of Su Mengyao's people, they bowed in succession. Su Mengyao took Lin Chen and the others to her office. "Lin Chen, there is a bedroom over there. I sometimes lie down there for a while, and Cici will take a nap at noon, so you can let her sleep in that bedroom," Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen nodded. "Mengyao, your office is quite impressive," Lin Chen said with a smile. "This office is estimated to be 200 square meters in area, and the house he bought is not as big as this office. My father did it all. The company used to have real estate business, and this headquarters was built according to my father's requirements," Su Mengyao said. "Knock knock." Someone knocked on the door. "Come in," Su Mengyao said loudly. Soon, someone knocked on the door and entered. "Mengyao, I heard that Shishi came over, so I came to see Shishi." The person who came in was a middle-aged man in his 50s. When he saw Lin Chen, his gaze slightly tightened. "Uncle Zhao, you've come just in time. Let me introduce you, this is my husband Lin Chen." Husband, Uncle Zhao is the company's vice president, and he is one of the company's veterans. Su Mengyao introduced with a smile. "Hello, Uncle Zhao." Lin Chen said hello, and Shishi, you have to call Grandpa Zhao. Lin Xiaoxi called out, looking at the other person. Xiaoxi is really well behaved. Lin Xiaolin, Mengyao has very high standards, it's not simple for you to gain her favor. Where do you work?" Vice President Zhao asked with a smile. Lin Chen replied, "I am Xiaoxi's biological father. My job now is to take good care of Xiaoxi." Vice President Zhao nodded. "That's good. Taking good care of children is more important than anything else. Mengyao, will Lin Xiaolin participate in the basketball competition?" Su Mengyao said, "Yes, I signed Lin Chen up." Vice President Zhao laughed and said, "Tianyu is on a different team, so perhaps Tianyu and Lin Xiaolin will meet on the court. Tianyu is not bad at basketball, so I'll tell Tianyu to let Lin Xiaolin have the upper hand on the court." Lin Chen said, "Uncle Zhao, that's not necessary. According to Mengyao, the prize money for this competition is at stake for many people. We can't cheat." Vice President Zhao nodded, "That's right. It depends on how well you guys play. Basketball is not a one-man sport. Maybe your team is stronger than Tianyu's team. Mengyao, I won't bother you anymore." Vice President Zhao soon left Su Mengyao's office. "Shishi, there are toys over there. Go play over there." Lin Chen pointed to a corner of the office. There was a small toy area in the corner, which Su Mengyao must have specially prepared for Lin Xiaoxi. "Great." Lin Xiaochen bounced and ran over. "Mengyao, there's something not quite right about this Vice President Zhao," Lin Chen said in a low voice. Su Mengyao frowned and said, "Zhao Tianyu has an idea about me." Chapter 47, He is my husband, Lin Chen. Lin Chen asked, "How many shares do they have? How many shares does your family have?" Su Mengyao, "The Zhao family only has a 13% stake, and our family has a 51% stake." Lin Chen smiled faintly, "They have a pretty good idea. If they marry you, they'll get both you and your wealth." Su Mengyao frowned. "Zhao Tianyu was quite annoying, but Uncle Zhao was after all a veteran who started the business with my father. I definitely have to give some face to Uncle Zhao." Lin Chen laughed lightly, "Wife, don't worry, I will definitely be a good shield and block him off completely." Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a cold look. "Don't you feel uncomfortable not taking advantage of the situation?" Lin Chen said seriously, "Strictly speaking, this is taking advantage of the situation verbally. I haven't taken advantage of the situation verbally yet." Su Mengyao. Zhao Tianyu is likely to target you, so be careful. Lin Chen laughed. Don't look at me, I'm skinny, but I'm full of muscles. Su Mengyao said with a scowl, he'll punch you and you won't even make a sound, right? You'll just pass out and be sent to the hospital. Lin Chen, you'll see how strong your husband is. Su Mengyao glared at Lin Chen and said, don't drive. Drive? Lin Chen was surprised. Mengyao, you can drive on this broken road? I mean, you know how good I am at fighting, not that. Su Mengyao said angrily, I'm not talking to you anymore. You sit over there for a while, and I'll take you to meet your team later. Su Mengyao finished speaking and went with Lin Xiaoxi. System, what is my current physical fitness? Lin Chen asked in his mind. He didn't pay much attention to this, as it would increase every day anyway. The system said, Host, your current physical fitness is 135 points. HM. Lin Chen was quite satisfied. His physical fitness was more than double that of an ordinary man, but there was still a gap between him and the world's top boxers. Lin Chen wasn't in a hurry about this. How long had he had the system? In another half-month, his physical fitness would be comparable to the world's top boxers. Knock, knock. The sound of knocking came from the door. Su Mengyao's assistant came in. President, the rest of the team members are already at basketball court 1. Lin Chen went over and picked up Lin Xiaoqian. The three of them went downstairs, and in no time at all they arrived at the sports center. President. The 11 people in basketball court 1 said in unison. Su Mengyao nodded, and she smiled, this isn't work, so you don't need to be so nervous. Next to me is my husband Lin Chen, he's on your team. There's no fixing the basketball game this time, and you won't necessarily win just because he's on your team. You have to work hard to win. 11 people said in unison, yes, President. They were still nervous. They were just ordinary employees, or the family members of employees. Su Mengyao's words could determine their jobs, or the jobs of their family members. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen, honey, I'm here. They can't let go. Why don't you chat with them and play basketball with them to get familiar with them? I'll take Cece to look around somewhere else. We've already practiced, and she can call it out quite fluently now. Okay. Lin Chen nodded. Lin Xiaoqian said sweetly, Dad, do your best. Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoqian left, and the crowd relaxed a little, but they didn't completely let go. Lin Chen's gaze swept over them and he smiled, everyone, you're nervous, and Mengyao is your leader and also my leader. The leader has now left, so let's relax a little. Hearing Lin Chen say this, the crowd relaxed a lot. One man gave a thumbs up and said, Lin Gu, you're awesome, you were able to take down a strong woman like the president. Lin Gu, how did you get the president? Lin Gu. Everyone spoke up. Lin Chen laughed and said, I'm Meng Yao's senior. To get a president like Meng Yao, you have to start when she hasn't become the president yet. It's easy when you have a hostage. Everyone laughed. Lin Chen seemed to be quite easy to get along with, and they relaxed even more. Lin Chen said, everyone introduce themselves? You know my name, but I don't know you yet. Soon everyone introduced themselves. Lin Chen's physical fitness had improved, and with the various abilities he had obtained, his memory had improved, and he remembered it all at once. Who is the team leader? Lin Chen asked. One of the older ones laughed and said, Lin Gu, you are the team leader. If we fight to be the team leader, the president will get angry and fire us, what should we do? Lin Chen laughed and said, it's not good for me to be the team leader. She needs to take a nap at noon, and your president is also busy. I have to stay by her side while she takes a nap. Another person said, Lin Gu, if you're the captain, we can just elect a vice captain. Everyone nodded. Lin Chen laughed and said, okay then. There are 12 of us, 2 of us will be the referees, let's play for a while to get used to each other? Okay. Very quickly, Lin Chen and the others divided into teams. After playing for less than 5 minutes, Lin Chen had a pretty good idea of the level of the rest of the people. Only 1 or 2 of their team were of a decent level, the rest were all amateurs. Su Dong, you defend well. Lin Chen laughed. The ball was now in his hands. The next second Lin Chen dribbled the ball at full speed, and the person defending him was instantly passed, and the second person covering for him also failed to stop him. Lin Chen dribbled the ball to the front of the rebound. Pong! Lin Chen easily jumped up and slammed the ball. The rest of the people looked at Lin Chen in shock. Lin Chen could actually dunk. Time gradually passed, and it was Lin Chen's time to perform, with all kinds of three-pointers and dunks. Lin Gu, you're awesome. You have such strong skills and a strong physique. If I had your level, I would have found a girlfriend in college too. Half an hour later, Lin Chen and the others stopped playing. The rest of the guys started praising him. At first, they chose Lin Chen as captain because of Su Mengyao, but now they were convinced by Lin Chen's level. Lin Chen laughed and said, "Let's cooperate well, and maybe we can get first place." Everyone was overjoyed. At first, when they saw the level of the rest of the team, they didn't have much hope, and they just wanted to avoid coming last. Now that they knew Lin Chen was so good, they were full of confidence. There are only 5 people on the basketball team. Lin Chen alone is probably worth 3 of them. Lin Chen, have you guys gotten familiar with each other? Su Mengyao came down the stairs with Lin Xiaoxi in her arms. Lin Chen laughed and said, "We're familiar with each other. Our level is awesome, and I don't think we'll have any problems making it to the finals. President, Lin is really strong." "Yes, we are all rookies, but Lin is really strong." The rest of the people spoke one after the other. Su Mengyao laughed and said, "You are just blowing each other up. It's fine as long as you are familiar with each other, and have a good competition tomorrow." "Lin Chen, are you and Sisai eating at the company?" Lin Xiaoxi shook her head repeatedly. "Mom, I'm not eating here. The food here is not delicious." "Dad, let's go home." Lin Chen laughed. "Mengyao, today we'll go back and eat, and for the next 3 days, we'll have to eat here at noon. Today, let Sisai go back and eat something good." Su Mengyao nodded. She glanced at the rest of the people. "If you want to continue practicing, you can keep playing here." "Okay, President." Lin Chen and the others left. One of them said, "I envy Brother Lin, a winner in life. He has a wife like the president, and a cute daughter. My family only has a she-devil. You can't be jealous." Not to mention Lin's basketball skills, didn't he dominate in college? Lin didn't even break a sweat, maybe he's still got it. Shall we continue playing for a while? If we work hard, with Lin leading us, maybe we can really come in first. The remaining 11 people continued playing. Before long, someone arrived nearby to watch them play. 10 minutes later, this person left and dialed a phone number. "Zhao Xiao, I didn't see Lin Chen, he's already gone. But I saw the rest of the team playing. Only 2 of them were of average skill, the rest were rubbish." Zhao Tianyu let out a sigh of relief on the other end of the phone. Basketball is a sport for 5 people, even if 2 of them are of average skill, it's useless even if Lin Chen is also of average skill. Lin Chen, you just wait and see how humiliating it is. If I don't beat the crap out of you, I'll consider myself lucky. Cold light flashed in Zhao Tianyu's eyes. He was very annoyed. He had known Su Mengyao for 10 years and had always considered her his type, but she had never felt the same way about him. Then Su Mengyao went to university and, while she was there, she went abroad. When she came back, he was dumbfounded. Su Mengyao had actually given birth to a daughter. This depressed him for a while. But then Zhao Tianyu discovered that Su Mengyao's daughter was already here, but she was not married and there was no man around her. Zhao Tianyu felt that the opportunity was here again. He seized the opportunity to pursue her. With Su Mengyao's extremely high appearance value, coupled with the Su family's money, even if Su Mengyao has a daughter, so what? Unexpectedly, while pursuing her, Lin Chen has now resurfaced. Su Mengyao even has a husband? He had previously investigated Su Mengyao through connections, and the system of the Civil Affairs Bureau showed that Su Mengyao was unmarried. Could it be that Su Mengyao and Lin Chen have recently gotten married? Chapter 48 Mengyao, you called Lin Chen your husband? In the evening, Zhao Tianyu returned home. Dad. Zhao Tianyu saw his father Zhao Huayuan. Zhao Huayuan looked up and asked, "Tianyu, how are you preparing for the basketball game? Have you met Lin Chen yet?" "I haven't met Lin Chen. Lin Chen had already left the company before I returned. But I know that their team's strength is very average." Zhao Tianyu was full of confidence. Zhao Huayuan, sexual tension is important for men to attract women, and the court is a good place to show it. Su Mengyao is very rich, and money doesn't attract her much, so you must do well tomorrow. Zhao Tianyu nodded. Dad, I know. But I may not be playing against Lin Chen's team tomorrow. Maybe we'll be in different groups. Zhao Huayuan, if you're in different groups, just show yourself off. If Lin Chen gets eliminated early, the better you perform, the more obvious the contrast will be. But you have to pay attention to your demeanor. Demeanor on the court will be a plus for you. Zhao Tianyu nodded. Dad, I know. Zhao Huayuan, if you marry Su Mengyao, everything about the Su family's future will belong to our Zhao family. You have to work hard for this goal. Time passed quickly and the next day arrived. Su Mengyao told Lin Chen the results of the groupings. Their team, number 1, had been drawn into Group A, as had Zhao Tianyu's team, number 7. Lin Chen, Team 1 has both matches in the afternoon. You can come later, but you have to be here by noon, so that she can go to bed after lunch. Su Mengyao sent another message. Okay, honey. Su Mengyao sent a few head-knocking emoticons. At 10:30 a.m., Lin Chen drove off, and an hour later he arrived at the company with Lin Xiaoxi. Mommy. Lin Xiaoxi said joyfully when she saw Su Mengyao. But this joy did not last long. Lin Chen and the others arrived at the company cafeteria. Mommy, I ate a lot in the morning, and now my tummy is not hungry. Mommy, can I skip lunch? Lin Xiaoxi said softly. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen, she is in this situation because of you, you have to deal with it. Lin Chen patted Lin Xiaoxi's little head. Xiaoxi, did you hear what your mother said? The reason you are being picky eaters now is because Dad usually makes it too delicious. Do you want Dad to make it less delicious? Lin Xiaoxi kept shaking her head. Lin Chen, oh, and you need to eat your fill so that you have the strength to cheer Dad on in the afternoon, don't you think so? Lin Xiaoxi said and started eating. Lin Chen and the others were eating in the small canteen for senior executives. The food actually tasted okay, but compared to the food Lin Chen made, it was definitely a far cry. President. Lin Chen and the others were eating when Zhao Huayuan arrived. He was accompanied by Zhao Tianyu. Vice President Zhao. Su Mengyao nodded. In private, Zhao Huayuan was called Mengyao, and Su Mengyao called Zhao Huayuan Uncle Zhao, but they couldn't do that in public. Tianyu, let me introduce you. This young man is Lin Chen, he is Cici's father. You are both young people, so get close to each other in the future. Zhao Huayuan said with a smile. Zhao Tianyu extended his hand, and Lin Chen got up and shook his hand. Lin Chen, I'll see you at the stadium. Zhao Tianyu laughed heartily as he stared at Lin Chen. Okay. Lin Chen said flatly. Soon Zhao Huayuan and the others left, and after they had finished eating, they sat at a table further away from Lin Chen and the others. Tianyu, how do you feel? Zhao Huayuan whispered. Nothing to fear. Zhao Tianyu was full of confidence. Mengyao and he should not have any feelings for each other, otherwise they would have been together long ago. Now they should be together because of Cici. After finishing eating, Lin Chen and the others returned to Su Mengyao's office. Su Mengyao, Lin Chen, I have a lot of things to do later, so you take Shishi to bed. Once she wakes up, you two hurry down here, and maybe you can still get in the first game. Oh, and don't forget to change into your jersey. Lin Chen nodded. Shishi, let's go, Daddy will tell you a story. Yes. Lin Chen carried Lin Xiaoxi into the bedroom. Drip. Su Mengyao's phone rang, it was an overseas call. Dad, you're still awake? Su Mengyao said. On the other end of the line, Su Guofeng said in a bad mood, what's going on between you and Lin Chen? I heard that you called him your husband in public. Are you together? Dad, if we are together, do you disapprove? Su Guofeng was silent for a few seconds. Mengyao, Mom and Dad don't disapprove, but compared to you, Lin Chen is just a so-so. You might have a better choice. We just want you to be happy. Su Mengyao, and if I feel happy? Mengyao, if you are happy, of course your parents will bless you. Your parents are not that snobbish. Su Guofeng said in a low voice. Dad. Cici is still young, but she is very smart. Yuan's parents have divorced, and Cici knows what divorce means. Lin Chen and I have to pretend a little. Su Mengyao did not tell the truth. She did not say that she and Lin Chen had already gotten married. She and Lin Chen are not in a romantic relationship, and there is no need to involve their parents at this stage. Mengyao, you just think it over. As long as you make a final decision, both of your parents will support you. Su Guofeng's mother, Yang Qingyue, said next to him. After hanging up the phone, Su Mengyao looked towards the bedroom. Dad, the average person you're talking about is not that average. You'll understand when Lin Chen arrives in the United States. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. Hubby, our daughter has a crush on Lin Chen. Yang Qingyue said with certainty. Su Guofeng nodded slightly. I know. If not, she would not have publicly called Lin Chen her husband. Even Lin Chen would not have participated in this basketball game. Yang Qingyue, husband, you said before that Mengyao would be safer if she married someone with power and influence, and that our family would be safer in the future. If Mengyao stays with Lin Chen, what will happen in the future? Su Guofeng rubbed his forehead. What else can happen? If she really chooses Lin Chen, can we still break them up? We'll figure out a way to stabilize the situation. Yang Qingyue sighed lightly. I wish my father were still here. Su Guofeng took Yang Qingyue's hand. Don't worry, honey, I can handle this. Just focus on getting better, and we'll go home soon. Yang Qingyue, you should go to bed too, it's late. It's noon in China, but midnight here. Beep. The whistle sounded. The basketball game has started. Team 1, where Lin Chen is playing against Team 4. Lin Shi is still taking a nap, so Lin Chen is absent. Come on, come on. Many people on both sides are desperately shouting for their teams to do well. Swish. Team 4 scored first. Time is gradually running out, and the score between the two teams is widening. Su Mengyao is watching from the sidelines. She frowns inwardly. Team 1's level is obviously lagging behind quite a bit. Buzz. Su Mengyao's phone vibrates. She took out her phone, and it was Lin Chen calling. Mengyao, she woke up. Is it over? Are we still coming over? Lin Chen asked. There is one last quarter. Your team is 20 points behind. Su Mengyao said helplessly. Lin Chen was surprised. That's not much? It's not bad. Su Mengyao. We'll be right there. Lin Chen picked up Lin Shaoxi and quickly left the house. Chapter 49. Lin Chen is that good at basketball? Lin Chen arrived at the sports center as quickly as he could. At this time, the last quarter of the game had already started for 2 minutes. The score difference had reached 22 points. Time out. Seeing Lin Chen come over, Su Dong, the vice-captain, decisively called for a timeout. Mom! There are so many people. Lin Shaoxian said in a baby voice. Su Mengyao took Lin Shaoxian from Lin Chen's hands. Lin Chen, there are only 10 minutes left, are you still going to play? Su Mengyao whispered. It's too difficult to catch up with a 22-point deficit. Lin Chen laughed and said, the important thing is to participate. Since everyone has come, I, as the team leader, definitely have to go up and move around a bit. Shaoqian, cheer for your dad. Lin Shaoqian nodded repeatedly. When Lin Chen arrived on the court, one of the team members stepped down, and Su Dong and the other 3 remaining players looked at Lin Chen with joy. Lin Chen smiled and said, Su Dong, you guys give me the ball more often, and we'll try to catch up, maybe there's still hope. Su Dong and the others nodded. The ball possession was on Lin Chen's side. Su Dong and the others threw the ball to Lin Chen first. Dad, come on. Lin Shaoqian shouted. Lin Chen quickly took the ball and rushed towards the opponent's half-court. The opponent's captain, Wang Kai, intercepted Lin Chen outside the three-point line. However, Lin Chen suddenly accelerated and burst past him. So fast. Wang Kai thought to himself. Pong. He had just turned around to defend, when the sound of a slam dunk rang out, and Lin Chen had already given them a slam dunk. 2 points in. The gap had been narrowed to 20 points. It had been less than 10 seconds from the time Lin Chen had entered the court to the time he scored. Holy shit, slam dunk. Come on, come on. Many people looked at Lin Chen, who was desperately shouting, in shock. Lin Chen is so awesome. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. Don't panic, everyone, stay calm. We're 20 points ahead, and basketball isn't a one-man sport. Wang Kai said in a calm voice. They quickly organized their offense. However, Su Dong and the others were like a team on steroids. They defended very tightly. One of their players passed the ball, and Lin Chen quickly started and intercepted the ball. Go, Dad, go, Dad. Lin Xiaoxi shouted enthusiastically. Lin Chen rushed towards the opposite end with the ball at top speed. Even though he was still outside the three-point line, Lin Chen jumped up and shot the ball. Swish! The basketball went in the net, a three-pointer. He also tricked the opposing team into a foul. Without a doubt, Lin Chen made the free throw. The score between the two teams suddenly narrowed to only 16 points. At this time, Lin Chen had not even been on the court for a full minute. "Mom, is Dad the best?" Lin Xiaoxi asked excitedly. "Well." Su Mengyao nodded. That was the truth. As the minutes passed, Lin Chen's opponents desperately tried to stabilize themselves, but the gap continued to shrink. With 2 minutes left. Pang! With another slam dunk by Lin Chen, the score was tied. Next, Lin Chen's team took the lead without a doubt. Beep beep. The whistle sounded to end the game. The final score was 52-47. "Captain, you're awesome. Captain, you hit a lot of your strength yesterday. Captain." Su Dong and the others were overjoyed. "Brother Lin, we are convinced that we lost." Lin Chen's opponents, Wang Kai and the others, said one after the other. They weren't angry that Lin Chen had turned the tables and killed them. Su Mengyao is the president, and Lin Chen is Su Mengyao's husband. You guys played well too. Lin Chen smiled. He walked over to Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi. "Dad, you're the best, I'll give you a kiss." Lin Xiaoxian said in a baby voice. Lin Chen shook his head. "Xiaoxian, no. Daddy has sweat on his face, you can't kiss Daddy now." "Daddy, what about Mommy? Can Mommy kiss you?" Lin Xiaoxian asked doubtfully. Su Mengyao tapped Lin Xiaoxian on the head. "Mommy can't either, does Mommy not care about hygiene?" Lin Xiaoxian giggled. "Daddy, then we'll go back and kiss you again." "Okay." Lin Chen said with a smile. Team 7, where Zhao Tianyu was playing upstairs. Team 7 also won. He had a good performance personally and scored 21 points. Has Lin Chen's grandson gone onto the court yet? How is his level? Zhao Tianyu asked one of his followers. His follower did not watch his game, but was on the first floor watching the game of Lin Chen's team. He hurriedly ran up after the game. "Boss, something's wrong." Zhao Tianyu's follower Dao. "What's going on?" Zhao Tianyu's brow furrowed slightly. "Boss, Lin Chen only entered the game 10 minutes before the end. They were originally trailing by a large margin, but after Lin Chen entered the game, he scored 23 points in 10 minutes. Their team managed to turn the tables and win." Zhao Tianyu couldn't believe it. How was that possible? How could he score more than 20 points in 10 minutes? "Boss, that's just how it happened. He's too strong, way ahead of the rest. He made 4 of 5 three-pointers, and he can even dunk." Zhao Tianyu was dumbfounded. Lin Chen scored 23 points in 10 minutes, and he only scored 21 points in a game, which was embarrassing. Scoring 21 points in a game was very impressive, but it was a comparison that he was afraid of. He didn't care about rewards or anything else. What he wanted was to crush Lin Chen and win Su Mengyao's heart. What should he do now? Did you shoot the video? Yes. After watching a few videos, Zhao Tianyu felt numb. Lin Chen's level was much higher than his. He felt that Lin Chen's level was good enough to play in the NBA. Drip. Zhao Tianyu's phone rang. It was his father calling, Zhao Huayuan not being at the company at the moment. "Son, well done. I received the results of your match, keep it up." The phone connected and Zhao Huayuan's voice came through. "Dad, it's useless." Zhao Tianyu said bitterly. "What's useless?" "Dad, Lin Chen that son of a bitch is too strong. I scored 21 points in the whole game, and he scored 23 points in 10 minutes. Zhao Huayuan froze on the other end of the phone. He usually watched basketball games, and he knew the difference. He never expected to lose before even meeting him? Tianyu, don't be discouraged. The next game is a matchup between your two teams. Even if you lose, you have to lose with dignity. Your parents are farmers, and you still have a lot of advantages in other areas. Zhao Huayuan said in a deep voice. I know. After hanging up the phone, Zhao Tianyu went to the lounge. The next match was an hour away, so he had to try to recover as much as possible. 50 minutes passed, and Zhao Tianyu and the others went to the first floor. They would be competing with Lin Chen and the others on the first floor. Lin Chen, I watched the video, you're very good. Zhao Tianyu smiled and said to Lin Chen. Lin Chen looked at Zhao Tianyu. Zhao Tianyu had a smile on his face, but he could clearly sense the hostility in Zhao Tianyu's eyes. It's okay, basic skills are not to be ignored. Lin Chen said indifferently. Zhao Tianyu. Lin Chen, but there is a small problem with that. Basketball is a team sport. If you perform alone, the rest of the team will become your foil. You should also give the rest of the team a chance. Zhao Tianyu looked like he was thinking about the rest of the team. Next to him, Su Mengyao frowned. Zhao Tianyu, don't you think this is silly? There are only 10 minutes left. Is this the time to be humble? Lin Chen smiled and said, my wife is right. Chapter 50, The Miserable Zhao Tianyu. Zhao Tianyu walked away silently. He could only hold back the anger he felt towards Su Mengyao. Mengyao, you have to be careful with the Zhao family in the future. Although Vice President Zhao was your father's partner back then, people can change, and I think the Zhao family's appetite has grown. Lin Chen whispered. Su Mengyao nodded. I've talked to my father about it, but my father is more nostalgic. Besides, the Zhao family has 13% of the shares, so it's not that easy to get rid of them. And besides, driving away the jackals may attract the tigers and leopards. Lin Chen smiled. Mengyao, you don't need to worry too much. Even if you run out of money, your husband will support you. Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a wide-eyed glance. It's about to start, so you should hurry over. Don't be polite to Zhao Tianyu. Lin Chen arrived at the basketball court, and Su Dong and the others greeted him one after the other, full of confidence. Zhao Tianyu's team was quite strong, but Su Dong and the others now had great confidence in Lin Chen. Su Dong, whenever you get the chance, just shoot the ball. Don't be afraid if you miss I'll grab the rebound and make up for it. Lin Chen smiled. Okay, Lin Gu. Lin Gu, with you here we'll definitely win, haha. Su Dong and the others all said with a smile. You son of a bitch, don't think you can win easily. Even if you're good, basketball is a sport for 5 people. Zhao Tianyu cursed in his heart. He was extremely unhappy with Lin Chen now. Everyone, get your spirits up. The next one is definitely going to be a tough battle. If we win, I'll give everyone a bonus of 10,000 yuan. Zhao Tianyu stimulated his teammates with money. Brother Zhao, we will definitely do our best. Although Brother Lin is the president's husband, on the court, we will not let him on. The basketball was slammed heavily into the basket by him. Holy shit! Zhao Tianyu's face changed. He was just defending Lin Chen. But Lin Chen came from above and slammed the ball home. So strong. Go Lin Gu. Many people on the sidelines yelled frantically. Lin Chen's slam dunk ignited everyone's enthusiasm. Mom, you cheer for Dad too. Lin Xiaoxian said, so Dad will be even better. Hubby, go for it. Su Mengyao shouted. Her voice wasn't loud, so the people around them could hear it, but those a little further away probably couldn't. But Lin Chen was no ordinary person. His constitution is now much stronger than that of an ordinary person. Lin Chen's hearing is also a bit stronger than that of an ordinary person. Hearing Su Menyao's voice, Lin Chen looked towards her. Su Menyao's face suddenly turned red. Pong. Pong. In this game, Lin Chen basically didn't make any three-pointers. He let Su Dong and the others do it, and then he would make the layup afterwards. His slam dunks made Zhao Tianyu's head buzz. Zhao Tianyu tried to guard him, but it was like he wasn't guarding at all. Beep. The halftime whistle blew, and Zhao Tianyu was exhausted like a dog. His face was a mess. It got even messier when he looked at the scoreboard. In the first half, it was 36-23. They were trailing by 13 points. And of their 23 points in the first half, he had only scored 2. When Lin Chen was on the court, he was basically guarded to death and never got a chance. How many points did Lin Chen score in the first half? Zhao Tianyu asked one of his teammates. 20. Every one of them was a slam dunk. Zhao Tianyu glared at his little brother. He just asked how many points Lin Chen got, and how Lin Chen got them, doesn't he know? They were all dunks over his head. Dad, have some water. Lin Xiaoxian handed Lin Chen a bottle of water. Lin Chen reached out and took it, and Su Mengyao froze. She had just drunk from that bottle, but she didn't want to stop Lin Chen. There are other people around. What's wrong with the couple drinking a bottle of water? Forget it. Lin Chen and I have a child together, so it's just a drink of water. Su Mengyao comforted herself secretly. She couldn't accept other people drinking the water she had drunk, but she could barely accept Lin Chen's words. Lin Chen, wipe your sweat. After Lin Chen finished drinking the water, Su Mengyao handed him a towel. Thanks, wife. Lin Chen said with a smile. Su Mengyao. She rolled her eyes secretly, knowing that he was just taking advantage of the situation. Lin Chen wiped the sweat from his head and neck, then he lifted up his shirt and wiped the sweat from his body. Wow, Lin Gu, you have 8 abs. Lin Gu, how did you get this body? Su Dong and the others beside him exclaimed in awe. Su Mengyao's eyes also revealed a look of surprise. Lin Chen not only had muscles on his arms, but also had a six-pack. This guy looks thin in his clothes, but he actually has such a good figure. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. She didn't remember that night 3 years ago, and she had no impression of what Lin Chen's body looked like back then. Beep. 15 minutes quickly passed. The second half began. Zhao Tianyu desperately tried to score and stop Lin Chen, but it was useless, as the difference in strength was too great. Lin Chen just picked up the balls that his teammates lost, and he scored 10 more goals. The final score was 70-43. Zhao Tianyu and the others suffered a heavy defeat. Damn it! Zhao Tianyu wanted to die when he looked at the scoreboard. Lin Chen had slammed 20 or so shots over his head. His head was buzzing. His legs felt like they were filled with lead. He forced himself to stay on the court for Face's sake. Lin Chen played the whole game, and so did he. But what kind of physique does Lin Chen have, and what kind of physique do you have? Dad, you're so awesome. I want to be as good as you. Lin Chen walked over, and Lin Xiaoxi said happily. Su Mengyao, Lin Chen, go take a shower, you must be tired after playing 2 games. Don't cook at home tonight, let's go out for dinner later. Okay. Lin Chen said with a smile. Xiaoxi, do you have any objections? Lin Xiaoxi shook her head and said in a baby voice, Daddy, I want to eat the food you cook, but you're tired. I can't let you get tired. Lin Chen looked at Lin Xiaoqian fondly. Although Lin Xiaoqian was young, the things she sometimes said were very heartwarming. Lin Chen, go take a shower in my office. Xiaoqian, I'll take her, we'll be back in about half an hour. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen nodded. Su Mengyao's office had a bedroom, and that bedroom was a suite with a bathroom where you could wash. Her father used to live in the company when he was busy. Dad. Zhao Tianyu arrived at his father's office. Zhao Huayuan had already finished his business and returned from outside. As a result, I know. Don't be discouraged, you didn't lose just 1 game. Although our family assets are not as good as the Su family's, our family assets are also worth 7 to 8 billion. What does Lin Chen have? Zhao Huayuan comforted Zhao Tianyu. Chapter 51, Mom, you say, husband, I love you. Zhao Tianyu, Lin Chen's parents are both farmers, so I really don't know how he and Su Mengyao had a child. Did this guy use force? Zhao Huayuan shook his head, how could that be? If so, he would have been eating public food in prison for the past few years. Do you think your Uncle Su has developed to the point where he is a vegetarian? Su Mengyao and Lin Chen got drunk? Zhao Tianyu speculated. Zhao Huayuan, don't guess blindly. 3 years have passed, and it's not that easy to figure out these things. And whether or not it's clear is not that important. Lin Chen is good at basketball, so you should play to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses. Zhao Tianyu said apologetically, Dad, I've spent almost all of your money, so you need to support me a little financially. The biggest advantage that he and I have is that our family is rich. I'll give you 2 million. But this advantage of yours can only be used against Lin Chen, and you have to be careful how you do it. Our family isn't as wealthy as the Su family, so if you use it in the wrong way, it might backfire. Zhao Huayuan quickly transferred 2 million yuan to Zhao Tianyu. This is all the money you have for this year, so spend it wisely. Zhao Tianyu, what if I make progress? Can I apply for more funding support then? Zhao Huayuan nodded slightly. If you make progress, I'll see the situation and give you some more. You have to use your head, and don't be too hasty. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao come from different social classes and have different values. Time will reveal Lin Chen's shortcomings. Zhao Tianyu nodded, Dad, I got it. Lin Chen, this restaurant has a nice environment. As for the taste, no restaurant outside is as delicious as yours anyway. Su Mengyao said. The three of them arrived at a restaurant by the river, where they could see the beautiful river view through the large French windows. Hee, Mom is right. Dad's cooking is the best, boo. Lin Xiaoxian said, giving Lin Chen a kiss on the cheek. Mom, Dad smells good, you should kiss him too. Lin Xiaoxian looked at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao said with a bad mood, Mom kisses or not, and when, is none of your business. You just mind your own business. Lin Chen laughed, Xiaoxian, Mom is shy. Adults rarely kiss each other in public. Is that so? Lin Xiaoxian was a little confused. Sir, madam, would you like to order now? The waiter came over quickly and asked respectfully. Lin Chen and the others came to a French restaurant. The environment was very good, and the prices were naturally very beautiful. Lin Chen, what are you eating? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and asked. Lin Chen, you know what's good, you order it. Well. Su Mengyao quickly ordered the meal. Dad, what's that? Lin Xiaoxian asked, looking at a grand piano not far away. Lin Chen smiled and said, that's a piano. If someone plays it, it can make a very nice sound. You're still too young to learn now. If you want to learn in the future, I can teach you then. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in surprise, you can play the piano? Lin Chen shook his head. No. But if Xiaoqian wants to learn, I'll learn first. Learning to play the piano shouldn't be that difficult. Su Mengyao nodded. If someone else said this, she would think they were bragging, but she didn't have any problem with Lin Chen saying it. Lin Chen's cooking, calligraphy, painting, and fairy tale creation are all top-notch, and he even plays basketball really well. In terms of languages, Lin Chen speaks 7 languages. The news she knew was outdated. Lin Chen is now proficient in 10 foreign languages. His experience in foreign languages increased dramatically when he taught Lin Xiaoxi English. It's not convenient to put a piano in your house, is it? If you play the piano at home, you'll disturb other people. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoxi, Mom, Dad can live with you. Su Mengyao. She has some good feelings towards Lin Chen, but that doesn't mean she's ready to live with him. Lin Chen patted Lin Xiaoxi's little head. Xiaoxi, it's good that you can help Mom and Dad think of a solution. But your grandparents will be back then. It won't be convenient to live together then. Dad, Mom's house is so big that even your grandparents can live there when they come back. Lin Xiaoqian looked at Lin Chen doubtfully. Lin Chen said, it's not just a matter of whether we can all fit in there. For example, when it comes to eating, you don't like spicy food, but Dad does. Everyone has different tastes. It's fine if there are just a few of us, but if there are a lot of people, it would be a hassle to cater to everyone's tastes. Don't you agree? Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Xiaoqian, if you and I don't move in there, can you think of another solution to this problem? Lin Xiaoxi thought hard. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi across the table. A faint smile appeared on her face. Lin Chen was very patient with Lin Xiaoxi, much more so than she would have been. Dad, I've got an idea. There's an empty house outside, we can put it there. Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up. Yes, that's a really good idea. As long as we think hard, we'll always find a way, right? Lin Xiaoxi nodded repeatedly. Su Mengyao asked, Lin Chen, what kind of empty house is it? Lin Chen smiled, I rented a small shop front. When the book is signed, the book can be delivered directly there. Xiaoqian will have to buy a bigger one if she wants to use it in the future. This is not urgent, Xiaoqian doesn't need it for the time being. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen, we only said 6 months ago. After 6 months, Xiaoqian can go to kindergarten. And at that time, my father will be in charge of things and I will be free. Lin Xiaoxi is puzzled. Mom, what do you mean by 6 months? Lin Chen said, let's not talk about that now. 6 months is still a long time. Maybe you'll have already moved in by then. Su Mengyao. One dish after another was served. Lin Chen tried a few. The ingredients were okay, but the taste was so. Mom, the food here isn't very tasty. Lin Chen hadn't answered yet when Lin Xiaoxi pouted. Su Mengyao, it's not that the food here is bad, it's just that Dad can cook better. You just think the food here is bad, but children shouldn't be picky eaters. I see. My dad is the best, I love you, Dad. Lin Xiaoxi said happily. Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoxi. I love you too, Dad. Lin Xiaoxi blinked. Dad, you have to tell Mom, I love you, wife. Mom, you have to tell Dad, I love you, husband. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao. I love you, wife. Lin Chen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao and said, Mom, it's your turn. Su Mengyao couldn't bring herself to say it. There were a lot of people on the court, and she was already at the limit of what she could accept now, just saying, husband, come on, while blending in with the crowd. You're full of crazy ideas. Eat your food. Su Mengyao said in a bad mood. Lin Chen laughed and said, Xiao Qian, Mommy is shy. After a while, Mommy might not be so shy anymore. Chapter 52, Special Guests. It was dark outside after dinner. Mengyao, shall we go to my place to sleep tonight? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao shook her head and said, the driver is here to pick me up. You take Xiao Qian home and drive carefully. Okay. Lin Chen nodded. He didn't push for it. The relationship with Su Mengyao will develop naturally. He is a man, so he will take the initiative a little, but the Su family is so wealthy that it is not appropriate for him to be too proactive in pursuing her. Besides, he is not the kind of person who is too proactive. Mom, see you tomorrow. Lin Xiaoxi waved her hand goodbye to Su Mengyao. Drip. Su Mengyao returned home and her father called on the video. It was morning in the United States. Dad. Su Mengyao called out when the video was connected. Su Guofeng, Mengyao, Lin Chen's situation is a bit different from what I found out back then. How come his basketball skills are so good? Su Mengyao muttered to herself, not just his basketball skills are good. Dad, the person you found back then wasn't any good. Su Guofeng, when Lin Chen was playing basketball, you were shouting go, honey. You have a crush on him, don't you? Su Mengyao blushed slightly and said coquettishly, Dad, you're in your 40s, can you stop being so nosy? How is this gossip? I'm just concerned about you. Su Mengyao, after all, he is Sisai's father. If it weren't for him back then, I would have suffered a lot more. It's normal for me to have a little bit of a good impression of Lin Chen, right? Normal. Su Guofeng nodded. After the basketball game is over, you ask Lin Chen and Sisai to come over for a visit, and we'll give you our blessing. Su Mengyao muttered, what blessing? Crystal has already been rejected. What did you say? Su Guofeng asked. Su Mengyao said it so quietly that he didn't hear clearly. It's nothing. Mom, don't you miss Sisai? I've already talked to Lin Chen, and I'll ask him to bring Sisai over. Su Mengyao said, don't give him a hard time. Lin Chen hasn't done anything to me, and he is Sisai's father, which is unchangeable. Su Guofeng nodded, don't worry, it won't come to that. Your parents are not the kind of parents who don't understand things. We just want to get to know him. We just hope you can be happy in the future. Su Mengyao, Dad, don't be too surprised when the time comes. Su Guofeng's eyes showed surprise. You mean Lin Chen and I know very differently? Well. Su Mengyao nodded, and you can find out for yourself. He and she will go over there for a few days. Okay. Su Guofeng wondered how different Lin Chen was. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. Lin Xiaoqian was eating breakfast and thinking about lunch. Dad, can we not eat lunch at Mum's? I have an idea. Lin Chen asked, what idea? Lin Xiaoqian blinked. Dad, you cook lunch, and we'll take it over to Mum's to eat. Lin Chen looked at Lin Xiaoqian with a smile. Dad, can we? Of course you can, that's a very good idea. He. At lunchtime, Lin Chen took the lunch to Su Mengyao office. Lin Chen, why did you bring lunch? Su Mengyao asked in surprise. Lin Chen scratched Lin Xiaoxi's little nose. During breakfast, Xiaoxi suggested bringing lunch here. Mom, am I smart? Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao with a little pride. Su Mengyao said impatiently, for a mouthful of food, Xiaoxi, you really went all out, and Lin Chen really spoils her. Let's eat. Lin Chen said with a smile. He bought a multi-layer lunchbox to bring the food, and Su Mengyao took out the dishes one by one from it. Just as they started eating, Su Mengyao's assistant knocked on the door and came in. The aroma of the food made her salivate. What is it? Su Mengyao asked. President, there is a document here for you to sign. Bring it. Su Mengyao quickly read it and signed it. The assistant went outside, and she rubbed her stomach. She wasn't hungry before, but after her trip inside, she felt hungry. Lin Ji's cooking skills were probably very good. He had good cooking skills, was good at basketball, and had a good figure. He had many good qualities, but compared to the CEO, he was still lacking in many ways. Su Mengyau's assistant thought to herself. In her opinion, very few people could match up to Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao was an only child, and her family had assets of 30 billion yuan. This alone could eliminate countless people in an instant. In addition, Su Mengyao is extremely beautiful, and she is also very talented. She is highly skilled at the guzheng and piano. Dad, I don't want to take a nap at noon. Lin Xiaoxi said. You're not going to take a nap at noon? Dad, you're going to compete, and I want to cheer for you. Lin Chen laughed and said, as long as you can hold out, you can stay up. Lin Xiaoqian nodded. She didn't nap, and Lin Chen went up in the first game, and there was no doubt that their team won. Halfway through the second game, Lin Xiaoqian's eyes became unfocused. Dad, I'm running out of battery. Lin Xiaoqian said listlessly. Su Mengyao was busy with something else, and Lin Chen looked at Su Dong. Su Dong, I'm not going to go up next. Lin Gu, you're busy. We're already so far ahead, it's not a problem. Su Dong said with a smile. Lin Chen nodded and left with Lin Xiaoqian in his arms. Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep as soon as she got back to the office and lay on the bed. Half an hour later, Su Mengyao returned. Did we win? Lin Chen asked with a smile. Su Mengyao, 52-45, a 7-point lead. Your team won the championship of Group A. Lin Chen, there is a special guest coming to the final tomorrow. Who? He is a coach, the men's basketball team of Shanghai. Lin Chen was puzzled. You called him? Su Mengyao shook her head. He contacted me. Don't you watch short videos? You've become a bit of an internet sensation. More than one person has made a video and posted it online. Coach Liang must have seen the video, because he asked someone to contact me and wants to come watch our final tomorrow. Lin Chen shook his head. It's no use if he comes. I'm not going to agree to play basketball with him. Su Mengyao, Lin Chen, don't you want to think about it? With your level, you probably wouldn't have any problems making the national team. You'd become a basketball star and have unlimited opportunities. Becoming a basketball star is much better than becoming a painter or a calligrapher in terms of fame. Let's talk about it later. For now, I'm not interested. Lin Chen said. Su Mengyao looked away, her face turning red. If we really get together in the future, my father will manage the company, and I will have time to take care of Cici. You will have time for your career. Lin Chen stared at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao's face turned even redder when he looked at her. You, don't stare at me. I mean if. What I just said was just an assumption, okay? Tomorrow you can get to know Coach Liang, don't reject him too strongly. Su Mengyao said with a little panic in her eyes. Lin Chen said with a smile, okay, you can't go wrong by listening to your wife. Su Mengyao. She gave Lin Chen a wide-eyed glance. Lin Chen, don't be too narcissistic, I just don't want to delay you because of Cici. That way I would feel like I owe you too much. Lin Chen shook his head. You don't have to think that way. For me now, taking care of little Shishi is the most important thing. By the way, even if we don't get together, you can take care of Shishi if you don't care about the company anymore. Su Mengyao was stunned. The next second, she said in a shy and annoyed voice, when Shishi wakes up, you should leave quickly. I don't want to see you. Chapter 53, Victory in the Finals, a high-paying offer. Lao Liang, what's so good that you called me out? Song Yuandao, the owner of the Shanghai Magic men's basketball team, asked. He was told to come over by Lao Liang Hui, the head coach of the Shanghai Magic men's basketball team. Liang Hui poured a glass of wine for Song Yuandao. Boss, this time it's really good news. I've discovered a genius. Song Yuandao, Lao Liang, let me see. You've discovered 9 in the past 5 years as head coach. No, with this one it's 10 geniuses. But the record is not good. His team is barely holding on. Liang Hui is a little embarrassed. Boss, before it was a little genius, and now it's a big genius. Song Yuan said impatiently, next time it will be a top genius, and the next time it will be a once-in-a-century super genius, and the next time it will be a once-in-a-millennium peerless genius. Liang Hui. Lao Liang, now that it is barely holding on, if another genius comes back, I estimate that I will have to lose quite a bit every month. The general environment is in a slump, and the landlord's family doesn't have any surplus food. Liang Hui took out a tablet computer he had prepared. Boss, just watch a few videos and you'll understand. He said this and opened the tablet to click on a video. In the video, a young man easily broke through the defense, then leapt up like lightning and made a violent dunk. Hey! Song Yuan's eyes showed surprise. He's fast, I'm afraid no one on our team can match that speed. Boss, watch again. Liang Hui flipped to the next video, and he edited it, leaving only some key clips. In this clip, Lin Chen jumped and dunked from just outside the 2-point line. What a strong jump and body control. Song Yuan's eyes revealed a look of surprise. Liang Hui flipped to the third clip, where Lin Chen casually sank a 3-pointer. This is average. His opponent was weak, so making a 3-pointer was nothing. Song Yuan shook his head. Liang Hui, in 4 games, he has made 10 of 13 3-pointers. Boss, do you still think that's average? Song Yuan was shocked. 13 shots and 10 makes? That's an incredible shooting percentage. But in 4 games, why did he only have 13 shots? Liang Hui, in the first game, he only played for 10 minutes and made 4 of 5 3-pointers, scoring more than 20 points by himself. He turned the game around. Later on, he mainly gave up his chances and let others score, so he made fewer shots himself. Otherwise, his numbers would have been much better. Song Yuan was shocked. Even if the opponent was weak, scoring 20 points in 10 minutes? Scoring 20 points in a game is pretty impressive. Lao Liang, he really is a good prospect. You should just recruit him. You didn't report every one of them in the past. Song Yuan said. This kind of good seedling can't be taken by others. Boss, it's a bit difficult to recruit him. Song Yuan, he wants more money. Do you need my approval? I'm willing to spend money on such a genius. Tell me, how much do you need to get him? Liang Hui sighed. I haven't approached him yet, so he hasn't made an offer. But according to the information I've got, he has a good wife, and I'm afraid that will affect him joining our team. Song Yuan frowned. You said he has a good wife, and you said his wife will affect him joining our team. What's going on? Why do I hear a contradiction? Liang Hui smiled wryly. His wife is too good. His wife is Su Mengyao. Song Yuan was stunned. Su Guofeng's daughter Su Mengyao? Yes. Song Yuan. He said angrily, Liang, aren't you just teasing me? My assets are barely 1/10 of the Su family's. What makes me qualified to woo Su Mengyao's husband? Liang Hui and Song Yuan had a drink and said, Boss, it's not entirely impossible. His name is Lin Chen, his family is ordinary, and he is now at home raising his children. Song Yuan, the woman works outside the home, and the man works inside? Lin Chen is so highly skilled, it's a waste. Liang Hui nodded, yes. They're playing in the finals tomorrow, and I was thinking that I would go watch, and then try to recruit him, but I didn't realize that he was Su Mengyao's husband. So? Liang Hui gave a wry smile. Song Yuan, so you want to drag me along? In front of Su Mengyao, my face doesn't hold much more value than yours. But if we go together, it will show more sincerity. After considering for a while, Song Yuan nodded, I'm free tomorrow, so I'll go with you tomorrow. Time passed and it was the afternoon of the next day. Song Yuan and Liang Hui sat low-key next to the court. Many spectators had gathered around the court. Lin Chen hugged Lin Xiaoqian and walked over. Su Mengyao was next to him. President. Brother Lin. Many people around them greeted them. When they reached the sidelines, Lin Chen handed Lin Xiaoqian to Su Mengyao. Dad, you do your best. Lin Xiaoqian said sweetly. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said with a smile, Xiaoqian is cheering for me, what about you, wife? Su Mengyao. Many people were watching, and Su Mengyao said, good luck, honey. Lin Chen and Su Dong entered the court. The game started soon. Song Yuan and Liang Hui found it a bit too eye-catching, as the level of everyone other than Lin Chen was very amateurish. But they weren't there to watch those people. Pong. Swish. Lin Chen began his own performance. Dunk, 3-pointers, Lin Chen scored easily and comfortably. He had also taught Lin Xiaoxi basketball for quite some time over the past 2 days, and her skills had improved a lot based on the previous foundation. She was already approaching the level of a master. The master level is the top level in the country, and Lin Chen has not yet reached it, but his physique is much stronger than that of a basketball player. Coupled with his strong physique, Lin Chen's current level of basketball is definitely at the top level in the country. Boss, what do you think? The game is nearing its end, and Liang Hui asked in a low voice. Song Yuan said, Lin Chen is very strong, and his opponent is too weak. He probably hasn't even fully displayed his strength yet. Let's go talk to Su Mengyao and the others later. Okay. The game ended soon after. Without a doubt, Lin Chen's team won first place. Lin Gu, thanks for leading the way. Lin Gu, shall we buy you a drink tonight? Su Dong and the others spoke with joy. Lin Chen laughed and said, drinking is fine, but I'll treat you all. I'll let you know after I find a good place. How about 6 o'clock? Su Dong and the others nodded. It was now 4:30, so they could take a shower, rest up, and then go out for dinner and drinks. Wife, I'm meeting Su Dong and the others for drinks tonight. You and Xiao Qian won't be going, right? If you go, I don't think Su Dong and the others will be able to let loose at all. Lin Chen said as he approached Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao nodded and said, you come with me to the second floor. Let the assistant take Lin Xiaoqian first. Su Mengyao and Lin Chen went to the second floor. There were only 2 people on the entire second floor. Mr. Song, Coach Liang. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao walked closer, and Su Mengyao spoke. Hello, Mr. Su. Song Yuan and Coach Liang hurriedly said. Mr. Song, let me introduce you. This is my husband, Lin Chen. Husband, this is Song Yuan, the owner of the Shanghai Magic men's basketball team. Mr. Song, this is head coach Liang Hui. Su Mengyao said with a smile. Lin Chen shook hands with Song Yuan. He looked indifferent. He didn't have the wealth of Song Yuan and his family, but he had various skills, and those were the fundamentals. Liang Hui rubbed his hands and said, Lin Chen, your level is extremely high. Are you interested in coming to our Shanghai men's basketball team? Song Yuan, we can offer you an annual salary of 8 million. Chapter 54, Grandma, we are at Dad's house. Su Mengyao was surprised. Mr. Song, is it that low? Aren't NBA stars all worth tens of millions of dollars? Song Yuan bitterly smiled. Su, the highest annual salary in our team is only this much. How can we compare with the NBA? However, players can take endorsements on their own, and the money they earn when their fame goes up is more than just these 8 million. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Honey, the side business you're involved in also has tens of millions of income a month, right? Lin Chen smiled. 10 million is not necessarily possible, but 8 million should be. Song Yuan and Liang Hui were shocked. Lin Chen's side business actually earns this much a month, so what is the appeal of an annual salary of 8 million? President Su, I'm sorry to disturb you. Liang Hui said regretfully. Lin Chen smiled and said, Coach Liang, I won't sign a contract with you, but I still like basketball very much. Xiao Qian is still young. I don't have time right now. If I have time in the future, I can play occasionally. In this case, can I play? Liang Hui and the others' eyes lit up. Of course you can, there is a foreign player quota. You can find a foreigner, let alone a native. It's just that the treatment like this. Lin Chen laughed. I don't care about the treatment, you just arrange it as you see fit. I have 3 small requests. First, I usually don't have time to participate in training. Second, I will only participate in the competitions I want to participate in. Third, if Mengyao and my daughter want to watch, I hope that they can be given good seats. Song Yuan agreed immediately, no problem. Lin Chen doesn't even ask for treatment, these are all trivial matters. Of course, even if Lin Chen doesn't ask for treatment, they will definitely not give Lin Chen any less money than they should. Lin Chen, when will you be free? Liang Hui looked at Lin Chen expectantly. Lin Chen smiled and said, when I'm free depends on when Mengyao is free to take Xiao Qian. I don't think I'll be free in the next 2 or 3 months. Song Yuan and the others nodded. The 2 or 3 months passed quickly. Before long, Song Yuan and the others said their goodbyes and left. Su Mengyao said, Lin Chen, I didn't realize that their team's annual salary was so low. Low? 8 million a year is low for a local tyrant like you, but it's pretty high for an ordinary person. I couldn't even make 80,000 a year before. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen, that's because you don't want to earn it. If you want to earn it, you can easily earn 100 million a year. Lin Chen now has time to write fairy tales, and he makes a lot of money. If he works hard, he will definitely earn even more. With such a low annual salary, I thought you would just refuse. Why did you agree to go with them in the future? Su Mengyao was a little puzzled. Lin Chen laughed and said, I like it. I think many people would be willing to pay to play a game with basketball stars. I get paid to play in the competition. Why wouldn't I want to do it? And haven't you noticed that Cece is very excited? What Cece needs most right now is companionship, but when she gets older, she will need more than companionship. By then, other people's fathers will be enjoying their success, but will her father just be stuck at home? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. Lin Chen really thinks a lot about Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Chen laughed and said, actually, there's another reason. What reason? Lin Chen gazed into Su Mengyao's eyes. I need to show off my strength in the future, otherwise others might gossip behind my back and say that your husband is incompetent. Su Mengyao. I don't care about that. Lin Chen, what happened back then might come to light in the future. If I'm incompetent and it comes to light, and others look at you with sympathetic eyes, won't you feel bad? If I'm powerful, what happened back then was destined by fate, and others won't be able to envy me. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in a daze. Fate-ordained affinity? Su Mengyao muttered to herself. No one else knew, but she already knew that Lin Chen was very outstanding. Perhaps this really was her and Lin Chen's fate? The shadow in her heart had quietly shrunk quite a bit. Lin Chen, you should go take a shower quickly. After you shower, take a rest, and drink less tonight. Su Mengyao said. I can't drive after drinking at night, so how about you stay at my place tonight and drive back with Xiao Qian early? Lin Chen took out his car, asked with some confusion, Mengyao, it doesn't sound like you're at home, does it? I'm at a friend's house. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoxi heard Yang Qingyue's voice and ran over cheerfully, Mom, is that Grandma? I heard Grandma's voice. Xiaoxi, it's Grandma. Yang Qingyue's eyes lit up and she shouted with joy. Su Mengyao pointed her phone at Lin Xiaoxi, and she had a vague feeling of foreboding. Grandma, I miss you so much. Yang Qingyue, Grandma misses you too, Sisai. Sisai, where are you and Mommy? We're at Daddy's house. Lin Xiaoxi answered quickly. Su Mengyao. Chapter 55, A Master of Basketball. Yang Qingyue thought for a moment. It was almost 9 o'clock in the country at this point, and Su Mengyao was still at Lin Chen's place. It was likely that Su Mengyao was sleeping at Lin Chen's place that night. Sisai, why aren't you asleep yet? Yang Qingyue asked with a smile. Lin Xiaoxi said sweetly, my mom and I are waiting for Dad. Dad won the championship, but he can't drink and drive, so we're waiting for Dad to come home together. Yang Qingyue's eyes revealed a look of surprise. Mengyao, Sisai's language skills have improved a lot. Su Mengyao nodded. It may be that she stayed with Lin Chen, and Lin Chen talked to her more, so her language skills have improved a lot. Mom, is there anything else? I have to go. Lin Xiaoqian said doubtfully, Mom, where are you going? You said you were sleeping here with Dad. Su Mengyao. What a good daughter, first place in the demolition category. Yang Qingyue said impatiently, Mengyao, you can sleep there if you want, what's there to hide? Cece is still honest. Cece, are you sleeping with your mother or your father? Lin Xiaoqian said crisply, Grandma, I slept with my father yesterday, and today I'll sleep with my mother. Mengyao, Cece's bath is ready. Lin Chen's voice came from the master bedroom. Su Mengyao quickly said, Mom, Sisai is going to take a bath, so I can't chat with you now. Sisai needs to take a bath and go to bed quickly. Okay. Yang Qingyue nodded, and Sisai said bye-bye. Grandma said bye-bye. Su Mengyao quickly hung up the phone. She tapped Lin Xiaoxi with her finger and said, Sisai, aren't you in the bedroom with Dad? Why did you come out? Lin Xiaoqian, Mom, I'm afraid you'll leave. If you leave, I'll be so sad. Su Mengyao's heart ached slightly. Mom said she'd sleep over, so naturally she wouldn't leave. Lin Xiaoqian pouted, Mom, you just said you were leaving. Mom, can you give me a bath? Okay. Su Mengyao nodded. She knew that Lin Xiaoqian was still afraid that she would leave. Lin Chen came out and said, Mengyao, Xiaoqian's bath is ready, why don't you go over there? Lin Xiaoqian, Dad, I've already had a video chat with Grandma, and I want Mom to give me a bath today. Okay. Lin Chen nodded. Half an hour later, Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep. Lin Chen also finished his bath and went to work in the study. He had to update tongxin.com. Knock, knock. Just as he finished writing an article, there was a knock on the door. Lin Chen opened the door and Su Mengyao was there. She had finished her bath and looked especially charming at this time of day. Lin Chen really wanted to kiss her tender face. "Mengyao, what's up?" Lin Chen asked as he invited Su Mengyao into the room. Su Mengyao said with a sigh, "My mom knows I'm sleeping here tonight. They'll definitely suspect our relationship." "Lin Chen, they're very against us?" Su Mengyao shook her head, "Not really. If I make a choice, they will respect my choice. They don't know some of your circumstances." Lin Chen laughed lightly. "You didn't tell them, are you afraid they will think you are helping me earn points? Anyway, you have to go over there, you can say whatever you want." Su Mengyao pouted. Lin Chen said with a smile, "That's fine, I will say it myself, I will try to win the approval of your parents-in-law." Su Mengyao. "What in-laws? Don't talk nonsense." Lin Chen said in surprise, "I'm not talking nonsense. We've got our marriage certificate, aren't they my in-laws?" Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a wide-eyed glance. "Our marriage is just a matter between the three of us, and has nothing to do with your parents, or my parents. They are not your in-laws." Lin Chen nodded, "Okay, if your father and I hit it off really well, we'll be on a first-name basis." Su Mengyao. "Your passport will be ready tomorrow, and the visa is already ready. You and Shishi will fly to the United States the day after tomorrow." Lin Chen asked, "Mengyao, what do your parents like? I can't go to see them with empty hands." "You don't need to prepare anything." Lin Chen shook his head, "That won't do. If we are together in the future, when they look back, it would be bad if I didn't bring anything when I first met them. Who said we would be together? If you want to prepare something, just prepare a little." Su Mengyao said, turned around and quickly left the study. Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. Slowly melting Su Mengyao, the iceberg president, is quite interesting. In the United States, Su Guofeng pushed open the door to the hospital room. He stayed with his wife during the day, and slept elsewhere at night. Yang Qingyue, if there is an emergency, the doctors and nurses will notify him, and he lives close by, so he can come quickly. "Wife, how are you feeling today?" Su Guofeng asked. Yang Qingyue, "I'm fine, but Mengyao has a problem." Su Guofeng's face changed, "Mengyao is sick?" Yang Qingyue shook his head, "It's not that she's sick. She slept over at Lin Chen's place, and it's probably not the first time." "Lin Chen won the competition?" Shishi said that Daddy is the champion. Lin Chen drank with someone else at night, and Mengyao drove the car. She and Shishi waited for Lin Chen to go home together. Su Guofeng took out breakfast from the thermos. Lin Chen's team did win. Mengyao has probably approved of Lin Chen a lot. Yang Qingyue said impatiently, "That's nonsense. If it wasn't like that, how could Mengyao sleep at Lin Chen's? What do you think, honey?" Su Guofeng, "What else can I think? Before our daughter makes a choice, we'll try our best to keep an eye on things. If she does choose, we parents can only wish them well. How could I do anything to drive them apart?" Yang Qingyue was a little surprised. "You seem to approve of Lin Chen a little more." Su Guofeng nodded. "It's true. Before, I thought Lin Chen was very ordinary and completely unworthy of Mengyao, but now I've discovered that Lin Chen is not bad. At least he's good at basketball and takes care of Cece." At this, Su Guofeng took out his phone. He clicked on a video. The video was some highlights of Lin Chen playing basketball. Yang Qingyue had not yet seen it. Soon, Yang Qingyue's eyes revealed surprise. Lin Chen's basketball level completely crushed the rest. After watching the 3-minute video, Yang Qingyue said, "Hubby, I don't know basketball, but I think Lin Chen is awesome." Su Guofeng nodded slightly. He really was awesome. "I consulted a friend, and Lin Chen is at a level where he can play in the NBA. There are quite a few people on NBA teams whose level is not as good as his." Yang Qingyue was surprised. "Su Guofeng, I'll talk to Lin Chen about it and see if he's willing to develop in the United States. If he is, I can find some connections to get him into the NBA. If he gets professional training, his skills may improve." Yang Qingyue nodded slightly. "Dad, catch the ball." Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi were shooting hoops downstairs in the community. These past few days, Lin Xiaoxi has been quite interested in basketball. Lin Chen has also spent more time playing basketball with Lin Xiaoxi. "Host, the time you have spent teaching Lin Xiaoxi basketball has reached 10 hours, and your level has increased to master level." The system's voice sounded in Lin Chen's mind. Lin Chen has obtained a lot of basketball-related information, and at the same time, changes have occurred in all of his muscles and nerves. Finally, he has reached master level. Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. With his master level and his physique, there will be no more than 10 people in the world who are better at basketball than him. Chapter 56. Lin Chen arrives in the United States. General Lin Xiaoqian, welcome aboard. Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoqian boarded Su Mengyau's private jet. This jet is registered in Su Mengyau's name. Hello, Auntie Ye and Auntie Tong Tong. Lin Xiaoqian called sweetly. Lin Chen nodded, and he carried Lin Xiaoqian to the cabin. Su Mengyau's plane is a Gulfstream G550. The interior is very luxurious. Lin Chen was secretly impressed. It's really good to be rich. He used to fly in economy class, which was very crowded. He really didn't expect that he could fly on a private jet, and that the private jet was even his wife's. President Lin, the plane needs to refuel halfway, and our total flight time will be about 16 hours. If there is anything you need, please feel free to let us know. One of the flight attendants respectfully said. Lin Chen nodded. The flight attendant left. Lin Xiaoqian said, Dad, let's fold paper airplanes, I want to give them to Grandpa and Grandma. Okay. Lin Chen smiled. He taught Lin Xiaoqian how to fold a paper airplane. 5 minutes passed, and a lot of information about airplanes flooded into Lin Chen's mind, most of which was about the Gulfstream G550 he was currently riding in. System, it can't be that there's something wrong with the plane, so this is the information I'm getting from folding paper airplanes, right? Lin Chen said in his head. If that was the case, he would have taken Lin Xiaoxi off the plane. System, Master, no. You are currently inside this plane, so you will receive priority access to this kind of information, and if there is an accident, you will be able to handle it. HM. Lin Chen let out a small sigh of relief. Half an hour passed. Boom. The private jet Lin Chen was on took off lightly. Lin Chen kept an eye on Lin Xiaoxi's situation. When the plane lifted off and the air pressure changed, adults would feel very uncomfortable. Fortunately, Lin Xiaoxi was fine. She's been on many flights before and knows how to deal with it. Dad, let's continue. Lin Xiaoqian giggled after the plane had calmed down. Okay. Lin Chen continued to teach Lin Xiaoqian how to fold paper airplanes, and a large amount of information about airplanes kept flooding into his mind. 2 hours passed, and Lin Chen's knowledge of this plane was definitely no less than that of the pilot and co-pilot. Dad, I'm so sleepy. I want to go to sleep. Lin Xiaoqian yawned. Lin Chen smiled, Xiaoqian, you can sleep if you want. We have a long journey ahead of us, so we'll fold the paper planes when you wake up. Okay. Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep, and Lin Chen also drifted off. Lin Chen had never slept on an economy flight before, but the spacious seats on the private jet were very comfortable for sleeping. Time passed quickly. Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoqian spent 15 hours on the plane, and Lin Xiaoqian spent 4 or 5 hours folding paper planes. Lin Chen's skills in airplanes have greatly improved. He knows a lot about this Gulfstream G550. Even its chief designer may not know as much as he does. Boom! With a loud roar, the plane landed, and Lin Chen and the others landed at New York City International Airport. The plane slowly taxied to the parking area. A black car was waiting for Lin Chen and the others here. Mr. Lin, please get in the car. The boss told me to pick you up and take Shishi to the hotel. The driver next to the vehicle said respectfully. Lin Chen nodded, he hugged Lin Xiaoxi and got into the car. The driver quickly got into the car and took Lin Chen and them away smoothly. Meng Yao, we've landed. We're going to the hotel now, put our things away and go to the hospital. Lin Chen sent a message to Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao, Lin Chen, are you guys okay? You need to adjust to the time difference when you get to the New York side. I'm fine, and Xiaoxi is in good spirits too. HM. Su Mengyao put down her phone. She looked at the documents in front of her, but for a long time she didn't really look at them. Will it be okay for my parents to meet Lin Chen? Lin Chen is after all Cici's father. If they have conflicts, Cici will be in a difficult position caught in the middle. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. More than an hour later, Lin Chen and Lin Cici arrived at the hotel. The driver who had brought them there took them to their room. Mr. Lin, look over there. Mrs. Su is in that hospital, Ward 306, 3rd District. Here is the pass. You need it to enter. The driver gave Lin Chen a pass. Lin Chen looked out the window. It's very close, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes to walk there. The driver nodded. It should take about 15 minutes to get from here to the ward. By the way, President Su is staying in the room next to yours, 305. It's daytime now, and President Su is inside the hospital. Lin Xiaoqian said in a baby voice, Daddy, let's go find Grandpa and Grandma. I miss Grandpa and Grandma so much. The driver said, Mr. Lin, you have my business card. If you need a car, just call me. Okay. Lin Chen nodded. The driver left. Lin Chen asked, Xiaoqian, aren't you tired after such a long flight? Should we go over there tomorrow? It's 3 or 4 p.m. here in New York City. Dad, I'm not tired. Are you tired, Dad? Lin Chen shook his head. Private jets allow you to sleep while lying down, and with his constitution, he had absolutely no problem. Dad, let's go then. Okay. Lin Chen took the gifts for Su Guofeng and the others and set off. The distance was close, and it wasn't long before Lin Chen and the others arrived at the entrance to the hospital. This was a private hospital, and Lin Chen showed his pass before entering. The proximity of the distance made Lin Chen even more nervous. Drip. Lin Chen's phone rang. He put it on and Lin Xiaoxi took out the phone. The call was from Su Mengyao. Lin Chen, you've arrived at the hotel, right? Su Mengyao asked when the call was connected. Lin Chen, we've already entered the hospital. In 2 or 3 minutes, we'll be in the ward. Su Mengyao's heart tightened. You're going today? Yes. Xiaoxi wants to meet her grandparents. It's not too late, so I'll take her to see them today. Su Mengyao said in silence for a few seconds, my father loves calligraphy, and my mother loves music. She plays the guzheng very well. Lin Chen's face showed a faint smile. Mengyao, don't worry, I will try my best to gain the approval of your parents. Su Mengyao. I was just talking casually. Give the phone to Cici, I want to talk to her. Not long after Su Mengyao finished speaking, Lin Chen hung up the phone. Su Mengyao couldn't concentrate on the documents anymore, so she got up and went to the window. Please don't argue with my parents. Su Mengyao thought to herself. Her heart was beating fast. Room 306, 3rd ward, this is it. Lin Chen took Lin Xiaoxi outside the ward. Su Mengyao's mother had already been in surgery for a while, and she could have been discharged, but the Su family was wealthy, and Su Guofeng was more at ease continuing to stay in the hospital. If there are any special circumstances, the doctor can deal with it immediately. Knock, knock. Lin Chen reached out and knocked on the door. Chapter 57 Meeting Su Mengyao's parents. Click. Su Guofeng opened the door. Grandpa. Lin Xiaoxi called cheerfully, and Lin Chen smiled slightly. Uncle Su, my name is Lin Chen, I'm Cici's father. Lin Xiaoxi, Daddy, you got it wrong. Grandpa is Mommy's father, you have to call Grandpa father too. Su Guofeng reached out and hugged Lin Xiaoxi. He kissed her and said with a smile, Xiaoxi, you're right, I'll let your father correct this mistake in the future. Lin Chen, come in quickly. You've had a long flight, I'm sorry for the trouble. I thought you were coming tomorrow. The three of them went into the room. The room was an ensuite, with a living room outside and the patient's room inside. Xiao Qian said she missed her grandparents. It's convenient to come here, so we just came directly. Lin Chen said, taking off a painting tube hanging on his shoulder, Uncle Su, I don't know what to bring as a gift, I hope you and Auntie Yang like this painting. Su Guofeng, please bring Qian over, what other gifts did you bring? It's us who should thank you. Lin Xiaoqian was a little puzzled. It seemed that her grandfather didn't know her father very well. Grandpa, where's Grandma? Lin Xiaoqian asked. Su Guofeng smiled and said, your grandmother fell asleep and hasn't woken up yet, but she should be waking up soon at this hour. Husband, is that Cici here? Let me see Cici quickly. Yang Qingyue said anxiously from inside the ward. Su Guofeng held Lin Xiaoxi and pushed open the door. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Yang Qingyue on the hospital bed in a daze, and her eyes quickly reddened. Grandma, you've lost weight. In a short time, water droplets appeared in Lin Xiaoxi's eyes. Cici, don't cry. Grandma is fine, she just hasn't been eating much lately, and the food here doesn't really suit her appetite. Yang Qingyue said anxiously, trying to comfort her. Lin Cici's tears flowed. Grandma, are you sick? You must get better soon. Grandma will hurry and get better. Yang Qingyue hurriedly said. As she spoke, her gaze fell on Lin Chen. Auntie Yang, my name is Lin Chen, I'm Cece's father. Yang Qingyue smiled. Meng Yao said that you are now taking care of Cece, and you are doing a great job. You have worked hard. Lin Chen shook his head. It's not hard to take care of Cece. Cece is very understanding, and she brings me a lot of joy. Su Guofeng helped Yang Qingyue sit up. Grandma, your hands have also become thin. Lin Cece held Yang Qingyue's hands in her small hands. Yang Qingyue was not fat to begin with, and now her hands feel a bit bony. Cece, don't worry, Grandma will be fine. Yang Qingyue said softly. Lin Xiaoqian, Grandma, you have to eat more rice. Speaking of this, Lin Xiaoqian's eyes lit up, and she looked at Lin Chen. Dad, can we bring Grandma rice? Of course you can. Lin Chen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoqian said happily, Grandma, Dad's cooking is the best, you'll like it, Grandma. Really? Then Grandma is looking forward to it. Yang Qingyue smiled and said, Hubby, help me out of bed. I'll get up and go sit in the living room for a while. Cece, let's go out first. Lin Chen carried Lin Xiaoxi outside, and a few minutes later, Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue arrived. The living room was 50 to 60 square meters in size, with a sofa and a TV. This was still quite a good hospital environment. Naturally, the cost was not low. Grandma, Dad is also a doctor. If you get sick, do you want Dad to take a look at you? Lin Xiaoxian said in a baby voice. Yang Qingyue said in surprise, Lin Chen, you also know how to practice medicine? Lin Chen nodded, I know a little. I can handle Xiaoxian's cold, but I may not be able to handle the complicated ones. That's also very good. It's very common for children to have colds, fever, and coughs. Yang Qingyue smiled and said, Lao Su showed me a video of you playing basketball. I didn't realize you were that good. Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up. Grandma, I watched Dad play basketball. Dad is the best. Su Guofeng said, Lin Chen, do you want to play in the NBA? I can help you find someone to get you into the NBA. Uncle Su, I don't have that in mind for now. The most important thing for me right now is to take care of Xiaoxi, Lin Chen said. Su Guofeng nodded, if you have any ideas in the future, you can talk to me and I will try to help you arrange it. Thank you, Uncle Su. Lin Xiaoxi was puzzled. Dad, you guys are weird. What's wrong? Lin Chen asked. Lin Xiaoxi said doubtfully, Dad, we are a family, and it is only right for family members to help each other. You thanked your father-in-law, and he thanked his father-in-law. Why? Yang Qingyue, Cece, it's probably because Grandpa and Grandma haven't seen you and your father for a long time. Over time, we've grown a little apart from each other. Lao Su, you and Lin Chen go out for a walk, and you guys have a good chat. Cece, Grandma will keep you company. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Lin Chen and Su Guofeng arrived downstairs. Su Guofeng chose a very high-end private hospital. The environment in the hospital was very good, and the downstairs was like a park. Lin Chen, about that incident that happened back then, we actually have to say thank you to you. If it wasn't for you, Meng Yao's psychological trauma back then would definitely have been much greater. She might even have considered suicide. The two of them walked slowly as Su Guofeng spoke. Lin Chen shook his head, Uncle Su, you don't have to thank me. Su Guofeng, I still have to thank you properly. If you want to enter the NBA, I'll help you get in. If you don't want to, I'll give you 10 million yuan in startup funds. Lin Chen muttered to himself, it seems that Su Mengyao didn't say anything. If she had, Su Guofeng would have known, and he doesn't need 10 million yuan for his startup fund at all. Uncle Su, do you disapprove of us getting along? Su Guofeng shook his head, don't get me wrong, that's not what I meant. If you were extremely ordinary, I would disapprove, and you can't just be together because of Sisai. In that case, when Sisai grows up, you will still break up. A marriage like that would just be a waste of your time. You have a daughter now, can you understand as a father? Lin Chen nodded, I can understand. Su Guofeng, the situation is different now. You play basketball really well, which is a big plus for you. It doesn't matter if you don't have money or anything, as long as you're good at something. If you can really get together, Meng Yao's mother and I will bless you. Lin Chen looked at Su Guofeng in surprise. Su Guofeng was much more agreeable than he expected. Su Guofeng, good. It's not easy to take care of a child, and it's even more difficult to make money. Meng Yao doesn't give you any living expenses every month? If that's the case, I have to say something to her. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, I'm not tired. I only work less than half an hour a day right now. Su Guofeng, you probably won't earn much in that amount of time, so I'll have Meng Yao give you some money every month. Lin Chen shook his head. Uncle Su, that's not necessary. I earn 3 to 5 million yuan every month. Su Guofeng was stunned. How much did you say? Lin Chen, under normal circumstances, 5 million yuan is no problem. His plan is to publish a book every month, and not counting old books, the royalties and signing bonuses for new books will be 6 million yuan. You're not doing something illegal, are you? Su Guofeng said with a grave expression. Working less than half an hour a day and earning at least 5 million a month, he really couldn't imagine such a dream job. Lin Chen shook his head. It's not illegal. I write fairy tales online and get a cut of the royalties from the published books. Su Guofeng was stunned. Lin Chen, don't tell me you're Lin Yu. Su Mengyao sent him a copy of Lin Yu's preface to the Orchid Pavilion, and he knows that Lin Yu is a top fairy tale master. The only person who can earn this much writing fairy tales is Lin Yu. Lin Chen smiled and said, Lin Yu is my pen name. I originally wanted to call the published book Sisai's Bedtime Stories, but then I didn't want people to notice Sisai because of that, so I didn't use that name. You. Su Guofeng looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. Lin Chen was actually the same Lin Yu as on the internet. Calligraphy masters such as Jiang Xuesong all spoke highly of Lin Yu's calligraphy, and he himself also felt that Lin Yu's calligraphy was very, very powerful. Lin Yu's identity is mysterious, and there is no information about him online. Su Guofeng never expected that Lin Chen would be Lin Yu. Does Meng Yao know that you are Lin Yu? After a while, Su Guofeng asked. Lin Chen nodded. She knows that Lin Yu is my pen name. She also knows that I have made some money writing fairy tales. She used to give me living expenses, but I didn't want it. Su Guofeng's mouth twitched. Meng Yao knew that you were Lin Yu, and she actually hid it from us. Lin Chen said, I asked her to keep it a secret. I'm Lin Yu, and if this news gets out, it might affect me taking Cici out, and I'll probably be mobbed. Su Guofeng waved his hand. You didn't ask her to keep it a secret. She just didn't want to say it herself, and I'll have a talk with her about it then. Lin Chen, you're actually so good at calligraphy, and you're also so strong at creating children's stories. You're also very good at basketball, why didn't you show it before? Su Guofeng was a little puzzled. The results of the investigation he had ordered were that Lin Chen was very ordinary. Appearance was perhaps the only bright spot, but Lin Chen used to dress very plainly, and this bright spot was also suppressed a lot. Lin Chen smiled and didn't answer. He never had such abilities before. Lin Chen, if you don't want to say, just forget it. Everyone has their own little secrets. Thank you, Uncle Su. Inside the ward, Yang Qingyue took out some snacks for Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Xiaoxi had asked Su Guofeng to prepare them before she arrived. Xiaoxi, are mom and dad doing well? Yang Qingyue asked. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Grandma, they're doing great. Mom and dad are both in good health and haven't fallen ill. Yang Qingyue rubbed her forehead. She was confused by her illness, and she asked a 2-year-old child, but she still asked so subtly. Lin Xiaoxi couldn't tell what she meant. Do you sleep with your mom and dad? Do they hug and kiss? Yang Qingyue changed her question. Lin Xiaoxi ate some snacks. Grandma, I haven't slept with my mom and dad yet. Mom and dad kiss in their room. Yang Qingyue muttered to herself. It seems that Lin Chen and Su Mengyao have not made any real progress. Lin Xiaoqian said that they kissed in their room, which should not be the case. Lin Chen and the others are just tricking Lin Xiaoqian. Knock knock. Half an hour later, Lin Chen and the others returned. Xiaoqian, we have to go back. Tomorrow we'll come back here to see Grandpa and Grandma. Lin Xiaoqian was a little reluctant, but she still said goodbye to Yang Qingyue and the others. Lin Chen hugged her and left. Honey, Lin Chen and Meng Yao probably haven't made any progress yet. They're probably just putting on a show to fool Xiaoqian and make her think they're in love. Yang Qingyue said. Su Guofeng, I hope they have made progress. If there's been no progress at all, Meng Yao's psychological trauma may be much more serious than we know. Yang Qingyue was puzzled. I told you about Lin Yu, and Lin Chen is Lin Yu. Huh? Yang Qingyue was stunned. She knew Lin Yu, but how could Lin Chen be Lin Yu? Lin Yu's fairy tale writing and calligraphy were both top-notch. Husband, are you sure? Su Guofeng, Lin Chen said so himself. Do you think he would lie to me on purpose about something like this? Yang Qingyue shook her head. There is no point in lying about something like this. It would be counterproductive. Husband, then Lin Chen is extremely talented. He is so good at writing fairy tales and calligraphy, and he is also very good at basketball. Su Guofeng nodded. If Meng Yao knows all this, and if she doesn't have any feelings for Lin Chen at all, then you can see that her problem is much more serious than we thought, don't you think? Yang Qingyue muttered. Could it be that they really are making out in their room? What? Su Guofeng asked. She said that they didn't sleep together, but sometimes they would close the door and make out in their room. I originally thought that they were just going through the motions. Su Guofeng suddenly stood up. He took out the painting scroll that Lin Chen had brought over. After wiping the coffee table clean, Su Guofeng opened the scroll and then unrolled the contents. Ha! Su Guofeng was stunned. He thought it was a calligraphy scroll, but it turned out to be a painting. The painting depicted pine trees and cranes. It was a pine and crane painting, which symbolized longevity and good health. Wife, this painting looks really good. You know more about this than I do. What do you think of this painting? Su Guofeng asked. Yang Qingyue didn't say a word and carefully observed it. Gradually 10 minutes passed. Honey. Su Guofeng touched Yang Qingyue, who was engrossed in it. What is it? Yang Qingyue asked in puzzlement. Su Guofeng, honey, what do you think of this painting? Yang Qingyue thought for a while and said, someone gave my father a pine and crane painting before, and after my father learned that the painting was worth 18 million, he quickly returned it. I have seen that painting before, but this one is better. It's just that the other one was a famous work and a cultural relic. This one is a new work. Yang Qingyue's eyes revealed a shocked expression as she said, Husband, could Lin Chen have painted this himself? Su Guofeng, I suspect so. His calligraphy is so good, there's no need to give someone else's work as a gift. We'll know for sure if we call Meng Yao and ask. Su Guofeng took out his phone as he said this. Chapter 59 Meng Yao, is Lin Chen Lin Yu? Yang Qingyue, honey, it's not even dawn in Huaguo yet. I'll send Meng Yao a message first, she'll reply when she wakes up. Su Guofeng finished speaking and sent a message to Su Meng Yao. Dad, what's wrong? More than an hour later, Su Meng Yao replied, she woke up relatively early. Su Guofeng called Su Meng Yao on video. Dad, what's the matter? Su Meng Yao asked, still in bed, and she had to lie down for a while after waking up. Su Guofeng said impatiently, Meng Yao, Lin Chen is so good at drawing, why didn't you tell us? Yang Qingyue glanced at her husband. They were not yet sure that Lin Chen had painted the picture. Su Meng Yao was a little embarrassed on the other end of the phone. Dad, wouldn't it be better if Lin Chen told you himself? Su Guofeng, the painting was really painted by Lin Chen. Dad, you're leading me on. Su Meng Yao pouted, you can just ask if you want to know, why are you leading me on? Am I hiding anything from you? Su Guofeng said impatiently, you have a previous conviction. You knew that Lin Chen was Lin Yu, but you didn't say anything. You showed me the Orchid Pavilion preface written by Lin Yu before, so at that time you knew that Lin Chen was Lin Yu, didn't you? Su Meng Yao. Dad, it doesn't matter. I have nothing to do with Lin Chen. Why am I saying this? Yang Qingyue leaned closer. Meng Yao, you don't have feelings for Lin Chen? He is extremely good at calligraphy, painting, fairy tale creation, and basketball. No. Su Meng Yao said with some insincerity. Su Guofeng, that's good. Your mother and I have found a good match for you, and you will go on a date. Dad, don't do anything rash. Su Meng Yao said hurriedly. Su Guofeng, we've spoken to the doctor. The best way for you to come out is to start a relationship. Don't worry, the matchmaking we've found for you is very good. It's a perfect match. You get in touch with Lin Shenxiao and get to know each other. Su Meng Yao. She took a deep breath and said, Dad, I'm not completely indifferent to Lin Chen, I already have some good feelings. You and Mom don't need to find someone for me. Yang Qingyue smiled, your father hasn't looked. Su Meng Yao rolled her eyes. Dad, you're addicted to lying to me. Su Guofeng laughed, who told you not to tell the truth now? If you tell the truth, your father and I wouldn't have to do this. You have some good feelings for Lin Chen, and if you don't tell us about Lin Chen's situation, aren't you afraid that we won't give Lin Chen a good face? Su Mengyao shook her head. Lin Chen is Sisai's father, and he has also done us a favor, so you won't say anything bad to him. Su Guofeng, what other merits does Lin Chen have? You name them. Dad, didn't you have someone investigate him before? Su Guofeng. Yang Qingyue spoke up. Mengyao, don't argue with your father. Tell us more about Lin Chen. Let's find out about him. Su Mengyao, Mom, you already know. He's good at calligraphy, painting, fairy tale writing, and basketball. Anything else? These are excellent, but why do I feel like there's more? Su Guofeng asked. Su Mengyao, he's an extremely skilled cook, one of the best in the world. He also has a good talent for languages and should know 7 or 8 foreign languages. Okay, I have to get up for work, bye. Su Mengyao hung up the phone quickly after she finished speaking. Husband, your investigation back then was pretty unreliable. Yang Qingyue said. Who knew Lin Chen was hiding so deep? Mengyao said she had a little feeling for him, and they should have a chance. If they get together and Mengyao completely gets over it, that would be great. Su Guofeng said. Yang Qingyue nodded. I hope Mengyao can seize the opportunity. If she fails, her situation may become even more serious. The night passed. The next morning Lin Chen bought some groceries. After spending a little money, Lin Chen borrowed the kitchen of a Chinese restaurant. He cooked 6 dishes and brought them to the hospital in a lunchbox. Grandpa, Grandma. Grandma, Dad cooked the best meal, you'll definitely like it, Grandma. Lin Xiaoqian said sweetly. Lin Chen's eyes were suspicious. Uncle Su, Auntie Yang, is there something wrong with me? Su Guofeng and the others looked at him with a strange expression. No. Su Guofeng shook his head. Lin Chen opened the lunchbox, and the fragrance immediately spread. Yang Qingyue swallowed. She had not had much of an appetite after her surgery, and the doctor diagnosed her with mild anorexia. But now she found that she had an appetite, and she was very eager to try some of Lin Chen's dishes. Uncle Su, Auntie Yang, you try them. The presentation isn't very good, but the taste should be okay. Lin Chen smiled. Lin Xiaoqian, Grandma, you try it. Yang Qingyue took a bite and was instantly stunned. She recognized the ingredients, but the taste was worlds apart. Not even a chef from a 5-star hotel could cook like this. I'll try it too. Su Guofeng gave it a try. He looked at Lin Chen in shock. Su Mengyao wasn't exaggerating. Lin Chen's cooking skills were definitely world-class. Grandparents, isn't it delicious? Dad's cooking is the best. Both Mom and I like it. Lin Xiaoxi giggled. Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue nodded. 20 minutes passed and Yang Qingyue stopped. She was a little full. Mild anorexia does not exist in the face of such delicious food. Lin Chen, I have a humble request. Grandma Shishi was diagnosed with anorexia by the doctor, but she is eating well now. Can you deliver a meal every day for a few days while you are here? Su Guofeng said with some embarrassment. If Lin Chen and Su Mengyao were together, then he wouldn't need to be embarrassed. There's no need for 2 families to speak 2 languages, right? But right now Lin Chen is not yet with Su Mengyao. Of course there's no problem. Lin Chen smiled and said, Uncle Su, you don't need to be so polite. He will definitely not be polite when he digs Xiao Baijiu away. Chapter 60, Trouble at the Shooting Range. After dinner, Su Guofeng returned to the hotel with him, and Yang Qingyue also wanted to take a nap, so he didn't need to be there at noon. Grandpa, tell me a story. This storybook was written by Daddy, it's really good. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice as she sat on the bed. Okay, Grandpa will tell you a story. Su Guofeng said gently, and Lin Xiaoxi fell asleep with a faint smile on her face after he had told her the story for 10 minutes. Lin Chen, sit. Su Guofeng invited Lin Chen to sit down in the living room outside. He had booked a deluxe suite for Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi, and there was a small living room outside the bedroom. The incident that year had a traumatic effect on Meng Yao. She saw many doctors, and now she seems fine but has not recovered. I hope you can be a little more tolerant with her. It is not advisable for you to express your feelings too quickly and cut the Gordian knot. Instead, you should take things slowly and let things happen naturally. Do you understand what I mean? Lin Chen nodded. Uncle Su, I understand. I know a bit about medicine, and there are many people who suffer psychological obstacles after being shocked. Su Guofeng smiled slightly. Lin Chen, thank you for understanding. That incident actually also caused quite a shock to her and her mother. Since then, we have been even more nervous about her situation, for fear that she will have another problem. Lin Chen said, Uncle Su, I will protect her. He thought of the image of Su Mengyao waiting for him after they finished drinking. Su Mengyao, the arrogant iceberg CEO, actually had moments that warmed his heart. Su Guofeng nodded. Lin Chen, some rich people choose their sons-in-law, and they like to choose the honest ones, the stupid ones, but I'm different. I want to find someone whom Mengyao can rely on. Her mother and I can't protect her forever. Money cannot be brought when you are born and cannot be taken with you when you die. As long as you are both well, all that money of ours will be yours in the future. Lin Chen shook his head. Uncle Su, you are wrong. Even if Meng Yao and I get together, your money will still be yours. I can make a living by earning money. If we get together, it will be because of her, not because of the Su family's money. Su Guofeng looked at Lin Chen in surprise. Lin Chen, let's talk about this later. Meng Yao's mother and I both think very highly of you. Lin Chen nodded and asked with a smile, Uncle Su, is there a shooting range nearby? I want to play with guns. Su Guofeng nodded and said, there is a shooting range a little further away. When Meng Yao's mother was sick, I would go there to play when I was stressed. Shooting guns can release stress. I have a black card there. You can take my black card and play with any gun you want. You can go there now, and I will watch over Shishi. Lin Chen nodded. Lin Xiaoqian was very relieved to have Su Guofeng watching him. 20 minutes later, Lin Chen arrived at the shooting range. He touched the gun. Playing in the amusement park with Lin Xiaoqian had given him a lot of shooting experience, and now he felt very familiar with the gun. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Chen fired 3 shots in a row. The first shot missed slightly, but the second and third shots were very accurate, as if he were a battle-hardened veteran. Time passed by minute by minute. Lin Chen had a taste of various firearms. He gained experience with all kinds of firearms, and no matter what kind of firearm it was, he could use it pretty well. You are good. A blonde woman approached Lin Chen. P.S. There is no ambiguity with the main female character, and this woman is not very attractive, so don't get the wrong idea. She spoke broken Chinese. Lin Chen asked in fluent English, I speak English, may I ask what is the matter? The blonde's eyes lit up, you speak English really well. I want to hire someone to be my bodyguard. You're a good shot, I want you to be my bodyguard. The contract is for 1 month, and the pay is $100,000. Lin Chen was a little surprised. $100,000 a month is not a small amount. Sorry, I just came here to have some fun. Besides, I'm going back to China soon, I can't be your bodyguard. For $100,000, you can hire a few professional bodyguards. Lin Chen shook his head and refused. The blonde woman said, the person who is causing me trouble is quite capable, so I'm afraid there might be problems with the professional bodyguard company. That's why I've come to the shooting range to find one myself. I'll pay you $200,000 a month. Lin Chen shook his head and said, I don't lack money. This isn't about money, madam. You should find someone else. $300,000. I can pay you $150,000 in advance. The blonde woman was still not convinced. Lin Chen still shook his head. At this time, the two of them walked towards Lin Chen and the others. Their hands reached inside their clothes. Lin Chen felt the murderous intent in their eyes. Shit! Lin Chen cursed inwardly, trouble is coming. The two people approaching pulled out guns from inside their clothes. One of them pointed at Lin Chen. Bang, bang. Lin Chen quickly fired 2 shots. The 2 shots accurately hit the two people's eyebrows. Since these 2 people wanted to kill him as well, he definitely would not hold back. The opponent had a gun, and he would die if he was polite. The blonde woman was stunned. You saved my life, here is my business card, as long as I can survive this month, if you ever get into trouble, I will use the family's power to help you once. The blonde woman took out a business card that looked very ordinary. Lin Chen's eyebrows were knitted. Their bodies. The blonde woman said, don't worry about it, just give me the gun, I will say that I killed them. I will let the family deal with it, no police will come looking for you. Lin Chen handed the gun to the blonde woman. I don't need your help, but don't let trouble find me either. We won't meet again. Lin Chen left quickly. The blonde woman made a phone call. Andrew, 2 assassins killed me, but I killed them in return. I'm now at. You find someone to dispose of their bodies. Leaving the shooting range, Lin Chen took a car to go somewhere else, and after changing taxis a few times, he finally returned to the hotel. Dad! Dad, where have you been? Lin Xiaoqian had already woken up and approached cheerfully. Lin Chen bent down and picked her up. Dad had to go out for a bit of business. Shanqian, have you been a good girl? Have you been naughty? Lin Chen asked, kissing Lin Xiaoqian. Lin Xiaoqian shook her head. I haven't been naughty, I drew pictures with Grandpa, and I drew better than Grandpa, hee. Su Guofeng exclaimed, Lin Chen, Cici has a high talent for drawing, she must have inherited it from you. Lin Chen put Lin Xiaoqian down. Xiaoqian, draw for a while longer, draw a picture for Grandpa and Grandma. Uncle Su, let me tell you something. Lin Xiaoqian was drawing in the bedroom. Lin Chen and Su Guofeng went to the living room. Su Guofeng said doubtfully, Lin Chen, there's something wrong with your expression, has something happened? Lin Chen told him about what happened at the shooting range. Where's the business card? Su Guofeng asked. Lin Chen handed the business card to Su Guofeng. Su Guofeng looked at the business card and his eyes revealed a look of surprise. Lin Chen, this family is quite something. You saving Solina may not be a bad thing. Su Guofeng said. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, do you know this family? Su Guofeng nodded, I know a little bit. This family is more than 10 times stronger than our Su family. Is Solina pretty? Lin Chen. He shook his head, not really. Uncle Su, I killed those 2 assassins. Will I get into trouble? Are you asking the wrong question? Su Guofeng said, even if people find out, they tried to kill you, and you killed them in return, so it's only fair. They won't mess with our family over the deaths of 2 people. Lin Chen nodded slightly. He thought to himself, I need to improve my combat abilities. The most reliable thing is your own strength.